going live. We're live.
We're live. We're live, pretty girl. Look, we're live. Can you say hello? Hello, everybody. Hang on. Let me grab this. Dog. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Oh, I know. I missed you too.
Welcome, everyone. VCQ Live. That puppy that was that big in early episodes is now this animal. That pedal dog. Rosie's with us today, unusually. She normally has doggy daycare on a Monday, but she was a little bit unwell last night, weren't you, Rosie? As you can see, she's not unwell now with Uncle Dan. Oh, bless you, puppy dog.
She's so gorgeous.
She is happy. She's about to go home and to see her friends, the cats.
Not friends.
We've had an entirely joyous experience being dog owners, haven't we, Rosie? Anyway, say hello to your public, and we should exploit you no further.
Yeah.
Rosie, the Sprocker Spaniel, for those of you who are unaware.
Okay.
Look how brown her ears are going. Off she goes. Doors open. Okay. Bye.
There we go. Pup date.
Pup date complete. That's item 1 on the agenda. Dan.
Indeed. Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to VCQ.
Hello. Hopefully we're on. Otherwise, that would have been terribly disappointing.
Okay.
We on?
Come on. I'm trying to find out. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. Apparently, there we go. Yes, and
Hooray.
noise. Hurrah.
Hopefully some things saying, "God, what a cute dog." Anyway, yeah. Dan's moving house this week, everyone.
I am.
He's
indeed.
moving house on Wednesday, and I think it's testament to the man's commitment to the cause that he is here now. Because if any
It
of
could
you...
be testament to something else, actually. Testament to my willing to leave the situation.
For those of you who have moved to house as adults, and even maybe as not as adults, when there's like, you know, it's not just you, a suitcase and a guitar case anymore, is it? It's
Oh, man.
there are a few other items now.
With two teenagers. Wow. And it's like, I'm pulling the studio apart. It's like, oh yeah, I put a hole through the wall, didn't I, to have the isolation cabinet on the other side. I'd better sort that out. Yeah, so it's just it's a festival of pain, but embracing it. Really looking forward to the new house.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
We wish Dan well on his move this week.
Thank you.
I just think keep drinking. As long as you haven't got to be in charge of any bicycles or other motor vehicles.
The funny thing is, we've got, for the first time ever in our lives, we've got movers coming in.
You've got to do it.
And I have got no idea what that entails, so we've packed up pretty much everything anyway.
Oh, right.
But like, I don't know. It's like, the stupid thing is, like, we've got, us and 2 kids, and they've allocated like 2 hours to move the whole house. I'm like, this is impossible.
They will astound you.
They'd better. I'm at the point now, I was like, well, Tina and I are going to go to the pub in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll come back with the keys and then open the door for them.
Feels
Go
like,
back to the
wow,
pub.
there's 2 of everything. I've never done it. I've never had movers domestically, but I've done it with a couple of companies, and it's just awe-inspiring.
Really?
Awe-inspiring.
Okay.
The professionals. Grumpy professionals, but... Actually, if you keep them plied with cake and stuff, they're usually all right, but... Anyway.
Cake. Okay, all right. Very
Onwards.
Good. Very good.
Hello, everyone. Who have we got on today, then? We've got Jeremy Summers, straight in with the super chat, saying, will Mick sell me his Jason Isbell custom Telecaster if he doesn't like it? We literally just plugged it in for the first time ever.
It's spectacular.
And annoyingly didn't record the moment for posterity, but here it is. Oh, yeah.
That was a G7 third inversion.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I'm starting to make a vlog on it, but the short story is my first ever telly when I was about 16 years old was a Japanese 62 Bound Edge.
Really?
Custom. And when I saw this, I love Jason Isbell. I love Jason Isbell. And when I saw this, I thought, yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah, very nice.
So
Very nice.
it's cool. That was literally, it's been sat there a week. That's the first time I plugged it in, genuinely.
Link in it.
So yes, no, Jeremy, is the answer to that question?
No, it's yeah. We plugged it in and quickly put Butters and Red against it, and there's a twang, honk, country thing that guitar's got that Butters and Red don't have.
It's a surprisingly different sound.
Yeah.
So what that means is we can now do that all of our Telecasters
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
right from the also unboxed Purple Squire Danish Pete in the box.
That's been here a while, right?
Never taken it out of the box. Still got the taggers on it.
Enough of that one.
That's enough. You've seen enough of that one. Right through to the 65.
Unreal.
Fair, yeah. We just probably just do need to source a thin line from somewhere.
Yes. Okay. Paul Davids, if you could send over your thin line, I'd really appreciate it. Cheers, buddy. Right, where are we all from?
Who have
Where
we
we
got
got
on?
going? Oh, hello from Santa Fe, New Mexico, from Michael Clark Photo.
Hello, Michael.
Is there a Santa Fe? That's in a song. Everything's in a song.
Yeah.
Hashtag some truth, hashtag mostly lies. That was very good.
Daniel Herbert, which we will answer this question, wants to know, could we explain the benefits of a $500 pedal board over a similarly priced multi-effects unit?
Yeah,
I think we should discuss that because it is really interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Daniel, we'll come back to you. Salut, Mickey Settlemere. Thanks to BV as always for
Yes.
moderating. We are eternally grateful, BV.
Eternally
Thank you.
BV. Legend superstar. Thank you.
Akron, Ohio, says Jim B. From France, says Vinicius Marcillo. Hello.
Joel Roman says, hello, a big shout out all the way from Caribbean island of Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Nice. Never been there.
Thrak says hello from Montreal.
Yeah.
And Nina Head DJ.
Nina Head DJ,
Nina
yeah.
Head DJ, hello from Astoria.
Peter Logan from Utah here. Hello, Peter. Could we do a show on classic keyboard tones that use pedals, i.e. Donald Fagen's Rhodes tone with a phaser? Or Supertramp, Whirly and a Roland JC 120? Let's get Jack in.
Yeah, okay. Any excuse to get Jack in.
Yeah. Let's see if Jack will come and see us and he can tinkle the ivories. We can drink bourbon and plug pedals in.
Awesome.
Hello from Albuquerque. Albuquerque, says Adam D. Medellin, Colombia, says Mario Ramirez. Hello, Colombia.
Chris Groom says hello from Swindon. Hello, Chris.
Similarly, rainy Houston, Texas, says Dave Oshman.
Hi from Tassie. Neil Anderson. I was getting on a plane to go and do a gig in Tasmania. I'd never been there. And on the way to the airport, the gig got called off. I was gutted. Because I've never been to a Tassie. Apparently, it's just stunning.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hobart.
Nice.
Lovely.
Ignore me. Lots of love for Rosie, Fabian Salmonson. Sorry, Fabian. Doggo, Rosie, she's so big, says Subro Pontes. Yeah, she really has grown.
She really has grown.
She's
a
muscly
hefty.
now,
She's
too.
a hefty unit. Like,
Well, that's not very nice.
well, but
Are you fat
Ziggy.
shaming my dog?
Like
She's not
Ziggy weighs nothing, right? And she jumps on my leg. It's like she's got that sturdiness about her. It's like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
she's obviously really strong.
Yeah.
But we've been on walks, and I see her take off like up hills and stuff, and she's just like all muscle,
Yeah.
amazing.
She's great. She's cracking. She's coming on good. So thank you. Rax FX, wow, she's grown. Yeah, she's 9 months. She's just 9 months. Hello, little dog, says Vinicus again. Rosie's huge, says Curtis R. Birmingham, UK, Aunt B. Gorgeous puppy, says Buzz Wilson. Burning
she's
hot in
amazing.
Cincinnati, says Gordon Rankin.
Oh
Gordon.
yeah, everyone to the much love to everyone in the Pacific Northwest. I believe is that area.
Yeah.
Massive heat wave at the moment.
Oh, really?
And in, also in Canada,
Right.
massive. Someone got 46.5 degrees
Wow.
today.
My wife's mother lives in Corfu in Greece, and she was 40 degrees the day before yesterday.
I don't know if anyone's ever, how many of you have experienced 40-degree heat. Growing up in Queensland, it would happen, not that regularly, but every now and then. As soon as it hits 40 degrees, the school shuts down, you go home, and you just wait the day out. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You can't move, you can't think, you just drink water and just wait till the,
Yeah.
it's just the worst.
I've never done it. Justin Halen wants to know if we're both transgender.
I'm not.
No, nor me. No problem with anyone who is, though, just for the record. Thanks for asking. 36 to 38 in central Alberta.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Yeah. Right, let's get on to the old super jobs.
Indeed.
Before we answer the first question, which was from, and let's see if it's still up here, from Daniel Herbert. Hello, Daniel. And Daniel wants to know, what are the benefits of using a $500 pedal board over a multi-effects unit?
Okay. Multi-effects units, great. And they're really flexible and they'll do a lot of stuff. When we start looking at pedals, so let me quantify this. I came from that world of multi-effects, and I thought, well, I can hit one button and do everything, and it's all in there. And it wasn't until I started messing around with some really good quality analog effects pedals that it became apparent what I was missing. The most obvious things are your gain stages. There's a different feel, fuzz, especially if you're talking about fuzzers, but let's not go there. Just really good quality gain stages. With pedals, you can be super particular about what works for you and what doesn't. With an all-in-the-box solution, you are working with someone's idea of what your solution should be. And they can be really flexible and stuff, but at the end of the day, what pedals allow us to do is to really hone and craft a sound that you like. So, and I can put my money in the areas that I want to put it. So, for example, flanges for me are a big deal. And so I, like an old Electric Mistress and the Thorpe flanger, and I'll have those as my as go-to things on my board because those sounds are really important to me. Old modulation sounds and old phases and stuff. I'll invest a lot of money in that stuff because I really connect to those sounds. I don't connect to the approximations of those sounds, as it were. The other side of that coin is if you are just starting out and you would rather get something that does everything, so you get an idea. Okay, well, that's a chorus sound. That's a delay sound. They can be a really good tool to get your head around what those things are. But for me personally, it was when I started to dive into analog effects and the way they integrate with valve amplifiers, and that's when my tone started to come together.
So some of the parts thing, isn't it, by that point? Funnily enough, I just watched Friday's show, which is on Dan's done 5 practice tools that will help you practice time.
Is it all right?
It's really good, actually. And one of them is a Yamaha THR 10 2. And I guarantee we'll have lots of comments that go, that's the best guitar sound you have ever had on TPS.
Right.
Because it sounds blimmin' great. It sounds full and fat and dynamic, and it just sounds really decent.
Sure.
And I think that's the case, because there are multi-effects and there are multi-effects, right? So if you're talking about something from 10 years ago, there is no doubt in my mind anyway that a collection of decent analog stomp boxes just kill it dead.
Sure.
There's not even a comparison. Nowadays, things are a bit different. You look at something like HX Stomp. They sound really good.
Yeah, sure.
They do sound really excellent. And if I wasn't looking like long term at a decent pedal board and swapping things in and out and wondering how it can evolve over time, I would totally go that way.
Right.
Because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say cost effective, and I don't even want to say value for money. It's cheap. It's crazy cheap.
Yeah.
And if that's going to do you, and you've got a guitar and an amp, and that's what you want, and all your sounds come from there, why on earth would you have anything else? Because it's so easy. But once you've heard proper high-end analog stomp boxes through a really great amp with a really great guitar, it's a different world.
Yeah,
It is a different world, and you may never be in a position to do that, in which case why bother?
Yeah.
And funnily enough, listening back to that THR, I'm thinking, wow, why would anyone have anything other than this in a home environment? It just sounds fantastic.
And that's it, though.
It feels like crap.
It's the it's the environment.
I literally couldn't connect with it at all.
No,
but
absolutely.
it sounds unbelievable.
Yeah. So, but environment is everything, because having my matchless at home in my tiny little room, where I can't get any bass frequencies to move.
Yeah.
That is useless at home.
Yeah.
But that sat on the desk for me to plug and have a play is perfect. So, environment's a really important thing as well.
It is. It is. I also think there is a longevity question in this as well.
Sure.
Because let's say you've got your drive pedal. When you start with pedals, this is probably going to be TC Electronic, Boss, Landlord Effects, that brand that Lee does.
Chess and all those things.
Well, probably much lower than
Oh,
that.
sorry. Okay, Tone City.
Tone City,
Yeah.
something affordable that gets you into it. And then when you turn into a total idiot, you'll wait 3 years for this and pay nearly 350 quid for it or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. And that might be 10 years later. What happens with the multi-effects is what do? You get rid of that whole one. And then you have to buy a whole other one.
Yeah.
And the number of, Boss GT this, Line 6. The thing that did it for me was a Line 6 M5.
Right.
I could not work out why I hated my guitar sound so much.
Okay.
And I took that out, everything. That was
Interesting.
That was the day I decided I was never going to use digital multi-effects ever again.
Okay.
And the thing is, HX Stomp probably knocks that into a really serious cocked hat at this point.
Sure.
So technology always improves. However, longevity, being able to swap things in and out,
Yeah.
and ultimately, if you really are going for zero compromise,
Yeah.
that's the only way.
Yep. I think a good example of that is, when we do gigs, I've always got tape delays and things at the gigs. And I'll have, before we play, I've had people say, well, why are you bothering lugging that stuff around? No one ever asked that after we play. Ever. I actually remember, bless him, a good friend of ours who used to work for Wampler, Jason.
Oh, Jason, yeah.
And he came to the gig.
Now works for Two Notes.
Yeah, it was Two Notes. Yeah. And, he was at one of the gigs we did at the grain...
Cheese and Grain.
Cheese and Grain at Frome. And he was like, the sounds we were able to get in that little stage.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, man, he was like, he's watched the shows for a long time. He said, but hearing it being put in practice, it's like, awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
I couldn't help think of car analogies while I was watching the THR thing back. Thinking, well, it's it really does sound good, and I'm semi-dreading all the comments that say that's the best guitar sound you've ever had on TPS, because it really did sound good.
Great.
But it is literally like comparing a Nissan Qashqai, Europe's best-selling car 5 years ago,
Yes, of course.
with an S-Class Merc.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Qashqai is probably better for taking the kids to school.
Sure.
It's probably better for going to the shopping.
And
it's way better on fuel.
Yeah, and
it's easier to drive.
And they're both going to get you from A to B.
Yeah, whereas the S63, it's an evil thing to drive if you've ever driven one. Anyway, let's move on.
There we go.
Let's move on.
Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, yeah. We're not at all defensive about it. Actually, I am slightly over being defensive about it.
Yeah. Well, you play what you like,
Yeah.
right? And you don't have to justify anything.
Yes,
I
yes.
love my matchless. I love my pedalboard. I love my Telecasters. I'm going to play that. It makes me really, really happy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Just seeing what the This is a way more elaborate answer than I ever expected. Thanks a million, says Daniel. Good on you, Daniel.
Very welcome, mate.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think just to underline it, it's very easy to conflate price and features with, choose my words carefully, quality and enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because you assume, well, look at all this stuff I'm getting for all this little price over here.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a big difference between budget and value.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, blah,
Anyway.
blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I will buy an HX Stomp one day. I'm kind of... Anyway. Right. It's logged me out, Dan.
Oh dear. Okay.
Brilliant.
Wyatt Louth, Lauth. How would you pronounce that? Louth.
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 Yes, I would say Louth.
Hello from St. Louis, Missouri. Do you have any thoughts on the Black Country Customs Secret Path reverb pedal? Looking for a semi-affordable spring plate reverb for my first pedal board. Thanks. No, we've only ever had one pedal from them, right? The Treble Booster.
Yeah, I've never actually tried it.
The Treble Booster I thought was great because we also had the
LA30.
The LA30.
Yeah,
the
because so
Laney.
Black Country Customs is connected with Laney, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was really great. But no, I haven't tried it. So I'm sure it's great. Some other, if you're getting into reverb pedals for the first time, the TC Hall of Fame is a really great place to start.
Boss RV6.
Boss RV6
Does all that.
Wonderful. And then you start going up to Boss and, and more specific sounds. But if you're, a reverb pedal that has a bunch of good sounds in it, TC and Boss, really good places to start.
Yeah, the TC Hall of Fame 2 is extremely hard to beat, isn't it?
Yeah.
MXR M300 we really like as
It's
well.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One pedal that we always recommend, which if you don't have a delay pedal, is a Source Audio Collider. So it's starting to get more expensive. However, you get a really great delay as well in one pedal. So anyway, right. Let's see then, shall we, Daniel?
Indeed.
I was struggling for a thumbnail today, as you could see.
That's great. Also, a massive thank you to everyone that's subscribed as well. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the
Yeah.
link below. We've realised that we've never asked people to subscribe to the show until right at the very end of an hour and a half long episode. And we're sitting there going, gee, I wonder why, getting
Yeah.
all these views. And so anyway, if you haven't subscribed yet,
Thanks.
yeah.
I just picked up my Gibson SG on a whim because I love the way it looks and sounds, says Connor Renshaw. Hello, Connor.
That's not a whim. That's a considered purchase.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a divine inspiration, I would say. But I'm still getting to know it. Curious what guitars you own besides the Jaguar you're still trying to connect with.
Ah, interesting. Let's see. No, I'm good.
Well, the Jaguar is...
The Jaguar's the one that I
you
struggle
haven't
with.
connected with.
Recently, after the setup from Simon, I plugged in and went, whoa, okay, and he put flat wounds on it.
Yeah.
And that has really helped with that guitar. There are guitars that I connect to more than others, obviously. But I think at this stage,
It's difficult, isn't it? Because there are degrees of connection.
yeah.
So, Dan...
This is interesting. I'm
I'm going to make an observation about
Okay.
Dan.
So, right. My Les Paul. This, for the longest time, was my favourite Les Paul. Every other Les Paul I heard going, that's really nice, but I still prefer mine. Until Mick brings his gold...
Not mine.
No, Neville Martin's gold top in. Now, every time I hear that guitar, I look at this guitar and go, bloody stupid thing, not very good. You don't like it. You think you know. So now that will fade.
Yeah.
And because this has a rock mid-rangey thing in this, that's really nice.
Yeah, it just sounds like a fat one to me. As far as 59s go, because you've got like 58 to 60 sounds, and then you've got modern Les Paul sounds, and the 58 to 60s. If we just draw brackets around that for a second,
Yeah.
that's a fat sounding one, I think.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got that kind of throat.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Still much prefer the sound of that one, but that is
Well,
probably the best Les Paul I've ever heard in my life.
Because Tellys are your favourite guitar, and it's twangier, it's brighter, it's...
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So not that I've fallen out of love with this guitar. I still like it, but I now, whereas I would have taken this to gigs before, I'll probably take the long bottom instead.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Because more than once it's been observed in the comments and also here at VCQ that the true greats only played one guitar, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite true, but at one specific point in their career, so Clapton,
the guitar that defined them.
Clapton ran the gamut, didn't he? He
Yeah,
played
he
a
did the 335,
Telly and the
yeah.
Yardbirds, Les Paul for John Mayall, then through various Gibsons in Cream, but predominantly 335 and SG, and then ended up on the Strat by Derek and the Dominoes and all that, and pretty much stayed Strat from there on. And he's quite rightly lauded as a hero on every one of those guitars.
Sure.
Whereas, I don't know, Albert King,
Yeah.
BB King,
Derek Trucks.
Eddie Van Halen,
Yeah, they've got their guitar that they go, yeah.
Stevie
that'd be
Ray, and also, but Stevie Ray played a Telly. Like, there's one picture of Stevie Ray playing a Telly.
good. Jimi Hendrix played a Flying V. Yeah, okay.
He did, but
Yeah, of course. But
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
And I think there's something in that, and I think just comparing Dan directly to all those guitar greats for a second,
Go on.
Telly's your guitar, isn't it?
Totally.
And it's the same with me in a Strat. Every time either of us play something that isn't those guitars, it's like, I got me flipping wedding shoes on.
Okay, yeah, I get that. But I love them all. They're wonderful. But I think I spent so much time learning to do what I do on a Telecaster and you on a Strat that it was sort of moulded around that sound.
Well, the middleman's gone.
Yeah, totally.
The middleman is gone.
Don't worry, you have your day again.
Yeah. Howdy from Petaluma, D&M, says John Newquist. Hi, John. I turned 55 on Wednesday.
Oh,
Congrats.
happy birthday.
And I treated myself to a baritone 8-string acoustic.
Cool.
Oh, yes, you did.
Wow.
Is that a Taylor by any chance? I'm trying to think of other companies that might have done that. Tacoma, I think, may have done one. D'Addario discontinued their uncoated set. You guys use Kurt Mangan, who offer a set. Why do you like them?
Kurt Mangans were like all the other strings that I've used, and they're all great. But Kurt Mangans, when I first used them, I noticed something different in my guitars. I don't know. They just brought something out in the guitars that I hadn't heard in any other string.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like you will be used to your string brand, and you will have tried other strings down the years. So the string, all I'm going to do is talk from purely personal experience. For years, I used only ball slinkies.
Right.
And then I swapped to D'Addario because they're the ones I got free. They're the best free strings I've ever had. And I like D'Addarios.
Yep.
I really like the NYXLs,
They're good.
but they're blinking stiff.
Right.
Which, if you're in a tens mood, is great.
Yeah. Right.
And this is on a Strat, by the way. If I'm in 11s mood,
They're really
11s on the Strat are just a bit too much.
Right.
For me, the NYXLs. Kurt Mangans have slightly less tension and a bit more what feels to me like elasticity. So they're just not as stiff. And that is neither a better nor a worse thing. It's a different thing.
Yeah. I mean, I do notice that because I'm using 11s, and on the Kurt Mangans, they feel like fat 10s.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've got
It's
no
a weird
idea
thing.
why that is. I really like them on the acoustics. I used Dario Coateds for years. They last really well and feel great. But
I used Blue Steels for years. I've got good results with those.
Markleys.
Yeah.
I literally put them on, dead.
Really?
Any Dean Markley strings, I put them on the guitar, dead.
Maybe that's why I like them.
And it's really funny with string brands. I don't know whether it's, someone will say, well, it's exactly the same metallurgy as that string brand, but I've tried them. Rotor sounds the same.
Cryogenically treated there, don't you know?
I was crying. So yeah, I just think you got to. Unfortunately, with strings, you got to pony up and buy a load, haven't you? And
Yeah. Find out which ones.
find out which ones you like the best. And there's definitely a trade-off between longevity and feel. I really like pure nickels.
Oh, okay.
Really, really like pure nickels. But man, I'd kill them. I'd kill them quick. And they're too expensive to kill quickly. So
Yeah, right.
what else? Yeah, Monels. Try probably not on an 8-string baritone.
Is that like a bass string?
I I would imagine
Well,
it's
see,
one either. No, it won't be the top one, will it? It'll be
What does it
two
do?
down below.
So yeah, it goes down to a B and then what? Down to an F or something.
I'm seeing what Mr. Google says. Wow, Alvarez do one.
Oh wow.
Guild do one. Who knew? There you go.
Have we ever had a guild?
Video will play after this ad. Who has the temerity to put ads on their YouTube videos, eh, Dan?
So
So
people
this is,
watching YouTube now, watching YouTube.
this is Tony from the Acoustic Letter. Oh no, it's not Tony, but
The way that low B comes
That'll work.
comes through the
We can all
laptop
do A here,
speakers.
yeah, trying to. Sometimes it's hard. I think that would be. Did you ever see that?
Say what the
there's
tuning
that really
is.
cool video of the that song "Someone I Used to Know."
B
You
E
know that.
A.
You would know it if you heard it. Anyway, it's
Oh, I see.
the whole band
I
plays around
think
one guitar.
it's a
in the video.
cross.
I know what you're saying. I do. I forget the name
Right.
of the band, but
So some of them, it would seem, have a doubled string
Oh, okay.
to give the 12-string thing.
I see.
Roger McGuinn's Signature Martin did that because obviously
That's
Roger
very
McGuinn,
clever.
very famous for 12-string, but wanted a 6-string acoustic that gave a flavour.
So if it was an 8-string, the lower two are a course.
Well, you get one low, I think, and then a course somewhere. 2 extra strings.
Wow.
Now, they might not all be like that, but the one I just saw was. And that's how the Roger McGuinn, it was a 7-string.
So your 6-string Les Paul doesn't sound
Just
very
when 6
good.
isn't enough. Good luck. John, good luck. Wow, we are going slow today, Dan.
We are,
Jack Petch. Hello, Jack. He says, hi guys, I'm cab hunting for my Victory V30. My Victory's closed back 212 is very dark. I want to use it wet dry with an AC15 that I've just ordered. Any
Nice.
tips? £800 budget. I personally, Jack, before you buy a whole new cab, I would just try some different speakers.
Yeah.
Now,
Which cab is it?
it's slightly worrying because if you've got the closed back 212 that comes with the V30, that has Celestion Vintage 30 speakers in it, and they are not dark sounding. So something doesn't quite sound right there.
Yeah.
That should be pretty present, that cab. It might be that it's closed back. If you talk to Victory, their customer service is off the scale. They might help you convert it into
An open
a
back.
semi-open back, which might help a little bit.
Interesting. Very interesting.
But if you find that cab too dark, there isn't one I could recommend that's brighter.
Right. Celestian Blues. Just get a 4x12, take everything out, Celestian Blues in.
I think, given your budget, you could probably afford to experiment a little bit with some different drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy Summers. Hi, Jeremy. We've had you. Will I sell you the Isbell telly? I will not yet. We'll see. See what happens.
I'll have first dibs, thank you very much.
I am making a vlog on it. Greetings, gents. Says, I'm not old, I'm vintage. We know how you feel. Blimey, and thank you for your generosity. Goodness me. He says,
wow. Oh, cheers, mate.
I normally can't watch live because of work, but I'm on vacation.
Ah.
Do you remember vacations, Dan?
The sound of the word is vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I need help picking out a delay. I'm looking for the one best. I can afford 2 easy to use, 3 versatile tape, analog digital. I'm looking at a Walrus ARP 87. What about the Empress? What about UAFX? So you want... So, best I can afford, it's easy to use, and it's versatile with tape, analog and digital.
Okay. The Walrus audio, the ARP 87 is absolutely fantastic, and we used it. When we first got it, we used it loads. The sounds on it are great, wonderful analog drive-through. It's not crazy expensive, like really, really good. Now, in that price range, if we're looking around 200 quid, let's see, the DD200.
Yeah, Boss DD200.
Boss DD200
is the main competition
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
Also, check out GFI System have just released, or relatively recently released, the delay side of the Specular Tempest.
Oh, have they?
And I don't know what that's got in it. I
Right,
think that's
that
got
was
a number
really
of
good.
engines. GFI System.
Yeah.
I think we probably would go Walrus, wouldn't we, at that price?
Yeah. Yeah. You put it this way: if you got the ARP87, you would be delighted.
Yeah.
It's such a great sounding thing. Just got a real vibe.
It is a good sounding thing.
Yeah.
Up from there, is the Meris do one?
Yeah, Maris. Is it the Polymoon? It's magic, but it's a specific sounding
Oh, okay, so not
sort of
that.
delays.
And it's quite hard to use. The Empress Echo system is fantastic. Again,
If you're looking
I find
for-
it quite hard to use.
Yeah. If you're looking for a delay pedal that does everything and you don't mind spending a bit of time with the manual, the ecosystem is great. But then you're getting into ecosystem timeline
Who is a
territory.
manual?
Yeah, exactly. So, ARP87 is really, really hard to beat. It's one of those delay pedals that, all those multifunction things, generally they might have one or two engines that sound really good, but all of those engines in the ARP87 are really considered, really practical, and sound great. Like it.
Yep. And it is dead easy to use.
Yep.
The Ranger Singer says, I run a Stereo Victory V30 and V40 rig.
Nice.
I've got a tremolo pedal on one side that flips the phase, but maybe it's only partially out of phase because it still sounds ace.
Tremolo pedals with phase is so interesting because what you're doing, if the phase is flipped and you are changing the amplitude, you are changing an out of phase amplitude with an in phase amplitude. So you're still going to get a stereo modulation effect, but you are ramping up an out of phase signal with an in phase signal, so you're going to get cancellation as that comes back down. Yeah. So, if it sounds good, it is good. I don't know.
It's more likely if it's a digital tremolo pedal, it's probably adding latency.
So if it's a digital thing, you're adding latency in a wet dry situation. Unless you increase the latency on the dry side by the same amount, getting it in phase is nigh impossible.
Yeah. It's something that I've been ignoring on the vent for the longest time.
But it sounds great with the vent.
Because it's a phase relationship
Yeah,
anyway. But
exactly.
It's just too much for me. It just drops too much.
Right.
So
Interesting.
Yeah. So number one, if it sounds great, don't worry about it. Number two, if it is digital, it may well be that it's adding latency and therefore it is out of phase.
If it feels good.
It is good. David Daly. Hello, David. I recently discovered a new pick, a Jazz 3 Flex 1mm. And it's properly reinvigorated my playing. What do you guys use? Are picks worth a show?
Really funny. We asked a VCQ a little while ago. We said, what do you guys think about us doing a show on picks? And half of you said, yeah, please. And half of you said, oh, God, no. If you do a show on picks, I'm leaving. So Mick introduced me to the
Dunlop Prime Tone.
Dunlop Prime Tone 1.5mm, and I have tried a few other things since I've discovered this pick, and it's just perfection.
Cover your eyes, Dan. There it is. Look at that.
It's got beveled edges. Tell them about the beveled edges, Mick.
Yeah, highly unsuccessful experiment in showing you something that's out of the light. They do loads of different prime tone picks. Yes, it has beveled edges, which you may or may not like. It's a standard shape and it doesn't have a grip on it. Now, I've been trying to improve my picking. In the 10 minutes a week I get to play the guitar, I've been trying to go from a hammering up and down motion to a
More thummy.
more thummy motion, which enables a little bit more accuracy. But it's much easier with a sharper pick. So Dunlop were doing a fairly expensive campaign on Instagram just recently.
Right.
I know it's expensive because they came up in my feed a lot.
Okay.
That was incidental music. And
That's really good.
they were pushing their pointed picks, which may be where you come in, David. Sorry, excuse me. With the Jazz 3 Flex, because the Flex was the range I think they were.
Okay.
And it has a point. I think it has a point, and that might be what you're talking about, which is something that I'm struggling to get
And your
towards.
point is,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I tried it, and I got two different ones. I got the Tortex point, and I got another one, and basically didn't like either of them, because although the point was great, the rest of the tone of the pick I just couldn't get, which is weird because it's supposed to be the same flipping material.
I spent a weekend with about 20 different picks, going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. This is after I discovered the prime tone. I kept coming back to the prime tone. But then it came back down to 3, and one of them had a bit more of a pointy edge. And I thought, well, this is a bit easier to play if I want to play it fast.
Yeah.
I was recording my EP, and I was really, really struggling with the guitar track. It wasn't my EP. It was the Phrase It Like Gilmore video.
Oh, yeah.
And I was struggling to get the front of the note. And I thought, let me just pick up the prime tone, pick that up, and it was back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was so interesting because it was in the recorded session where I heard it.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Not sat down with the
interesting.
amplifier. It was actually in the recording. It was like, oh, it's all here. And since that experience of like, that's it. I'm now done for picks.
Yeah.
That's me done. It was
Yeah,
fascinating.
I must admit, I struggle to get away from it. Dunlop Prime Tone 1.5 standard is what it is. You can't always get them. But it doesn't work on my acoustic, interestingly.
Oh, really?
It's too much for the acoustic.
Okay.
Because my acoustic's quite forthright sounding, and it's just a bit too much for that.
It's an incredible guitar, that thing.
Not even for strumming, but just for flat picking. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. As if I could flat pick. Good on you anyway, David. It's nice, isn't it, to find something that just spurs you on a bit.
Oh, yeah. Anything that makes you pick up the guitar.
Jacob Bartelt. Hello,
Hey, Jacob.
Nice to hear from you as always. He says, I have a favour. My daughter, every morning, points to the TV, signs for music, and only wants to hear Mick playing the recent Univibe Trem show. Could you record it? And I'll pay for it. Jacob, we will try and find a way of doing that for you if it makes your daughter happy.
That's lovely.
I'm sure there's an easy way I can do that for you. And for your continued generosity, of course, we wouldn't ask you to pay for it.
Sure.
And
And maybe use one of my shows as sort of threatened punishment.
No spaghetti hoops tonight, Cara. Bless her. Well, at least she's got good taste, is
She
all
does.
I'm saying. Yeah,
She
yeah.
does. Very good.
Albus Band, Aaron Hay, he says, Happy Bunday, Legends. We came back to live music in a big way last Friday, and TPS attire was donned throughout.
Oh, awesome.
Question, when will you guys play out?
When do we play out, Mick? We haven't lifted lockdown here yet. It's been
Ours-
extended for another few weeks.
Ours got delayed,
Yeah.
so we're not booking anything until it's...
Until we're out.
Yeah.
Until they come out and say, that's it, we're living with it now. Everyone take care of yourselves. But we've got to crack on,
Yeah.
which surely they can't be far away from that.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I went to put some vocals on my EP. Forget about it. I haven't sung in over a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what is that awful noise? What's wrong? It's like, oh no, that's me. So, I'm singing with a few songs that live at the moment, trying to get my voice back
Yeah.
together.
I think I'm going to go out and do a few open mics and that sort of stuff.
That's a great idea.
Just to get back in the swing of it again.
Yeah.
I mean, bizarrely, that is my most favourite kind of playing, if I'm honest. Acoustic guitar and singing, that's the thing I enjoy more than anything. So I think I'll probably kick off and do a bit of that.
Nice.
It also requires no rehearsal, which is also a thing I'm a massive fan of.
Oh, I love rehearsal.
I really don't. Zoot Allures. Hello, Zoot. He says, hey, DNM, no question. I just wanted to make a much-deserved contribution to my good friends that I've never met. You continue to inspire. Well, thank you for your kindness.
Thank you, Sid.
That's a big deal.
Sorry, I was trying to play some Frank Zappa there. Orange Cane Lumber Truck. But anyway, carry on.
I was just trying to play. Oh yeah. Iron Wolf
Just remembered
1776.
I can't play it.
I'm just going to play a Frank Gambart. Oh no, I'm not. Iron Wolf 1776 says, I'm adding a bass guitar to my stable that will bring me up to 30, counting my mandolin. I'm also changing out the EL34s in my JCM45 clone to 6 CA7s to get a more 5881 tone.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I think they're directly replaceable, aren't they?
EL34s.
6 CA7s.
Oh, okay.
They're called something else as well, 6 CA7s.
Right.
Cool. Hope you enjoy that.
Yeah, indeed.
And 30 is a nice round number. Beware round numbers. Needs to be 31, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. Get a bass and
An
I
8-string acoustic.
an
baritone.
extra acoustic, or if you're in the bass playing mood, what's that little rubber string bass ukulele thing that we played in Toman? That is just the most awesome fun.
There's quite a few. The original one was a company called Ashbury, and I think they were a UK company, the Ashbury Bass. And it's basically, I think this kind of instrument has been used outside of kind of Western rock and pop for
Right.
many, many moons. But it was the Ashbury bass that made it popular. Ashbury. As far as I knew. And then there are all kinds of companies that make them now. And the company I'm trying to think of is a Spanish guitar company.
Fandora.
No, it's not Cortez. It's anyway them.
Sorry,
they
I'm more
make
Italian.
tons of yeah. Would you like some pasta with that, Daniel?
Some pasta with your Fandora.
Yeah. Oh, Fender owned Ashbury for a minute.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was a tiny little thing with rubber strings.
Yeah, and it's just the most fun.
Yeah,
Really, really great fun.
yeah. So get one of those and make it 3031. Maniacal Lion from Minnesota. Going to throw you some local Minnesota music here because why not? Hippocampus. The song Bambi is a good start.
Okay, I have heard of Hippocampus. Why have I heard of Hippocampus?
And Trampled by Turtles. And
Classic.
Bad Hats.
Bad Hats.
We've had Trampled by Turtles recommended before. Is Hippocampus a bit of the brain?
That's why I know it. Apparently I'm missing it.
Or is it where African animals
Go on
to
holiday?
university?
Most dangerous animal in Africa.
Part of the limbic system. Short-term memory to long-term memory. Ah, that bit you don't have.
But I don't know.
It's Rag on Dan Day. Thank you for the suggestions, Maniacal. Richard Parker. Hi, Richard. He says, hi from Palm Springs. It is 50 degrees C in Palm Springs today.
No.
Blinking.
That's slow roasting temperature.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. What's a good dual overdrive for a Princeton Reverb reissue? FSR with a 12-inch Celestian Blue. That's the best Princeton I've ever heard, apart from a proper vintage one. Do you remember we played one in the sadly no longer there Riff City Music?
We
in
did,
Minnesota
and it was
that day?
superb. And ever since then, I've been pining.
Oh, there's one coming, by the way. I sorted it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I love you.
Not a 12-inch one, just a standard Princeton
Yeah.
Reverb
Ah,
reissue.
that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
An American Pro 2 Jazzmaster using Ripley 4 and Delay Llama Extreme. So, good dual overdrive. Well, you're a big fan of jam pedals. I would look at the Tube
Yeah.
Dreamer and the Lucy Dreamer.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Really great. The Supreme version says double versions.
Yep. Protein's another good one.
Yep.
As well.
Brown Instruments Protein.
Yep. But that thing is,
The Lucy Dreamer Supreme is excellent. That's another one of those. There's the other one. Really, really great. But yeah, the brown protein is a big favourite of mine and Dan's.
Yeah. It's a wonderful thing.
Which is here somewhere. There's a lot of good dual overdrives out there, that's for sure. D&M drive's pretty decent. Doesn't suck, does it, Dave?
It doesn't suck.
Still can't make that focus though. It's focusing on my hand.
There's no light because there's no light on it.
There's,
No, sorry, I'm looking at it. Don't look at the pedals,
I would say
Dan.
that light's entirely adequate.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. D&M drive.
D&M drive.
Or the brown protein. Or the Lucy Dreamer Supreme.
Yeah. Any of those.
Or the Kingtone Duelist. Or JHS, actually. You're in the US.
The shotgun one.
Yeah, the double barrel
Double barrel.
is pretty good, as is the Iced Tea. There's a lot of great dual
There's-
overdrives
yeah,
out there.
There is.
Yeah. Perilous Temple. Hot ass Mississippi. No question, just love.
Sorry. That was funny.
Got sweat running down my butt crack.
Welcome to
It's the sweaty gusset blues.
I got them lubricated butt cheek blues.
I think it's important to sing about real life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Man, I remember going to see Midnight Oil once in Australia, and it was just so stinking hot. And they were all just, it's one of those gigs where I felt ill for like 3 days after it because of just the heat. But oh man, it was definitely epic.
Epiche.
Epiche.
Grande Epiche. Someone has just asked if I like the cutaway on the bridge on the Jason Isbell telly. I'm just trying to find who that
Is
is.
that Danny Gatton style?
Oh, come on. Sorry, the way that our view is very difficult. Yes, a hippocampus is a part of the brain. Come on. Mick, do you like it? Says Todd Roy. I put a bridge on my player telly and I love it. Todd wants to know. So on the Jason Isbell telly, it's got like a modern... various players have done it over the year, where the ashtray is normally like just a flat ashtray, but they've cut away a bit here and here so that you don't rub your hand on it. No, I really don't like it, and I'm going to change it at the first available opportunity just because I can't look at it.
Yeah. I hadn't seen that before. The first
It is very comfortable.
right.
but
Interesting.
It's no longer...
No. It's
Right.
now a T-shaped object.
But there's a couple things like skunk stripe on a rosewood board, truss rod adjuster at the wrong end, and I just don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get over those things.
Okay, that's a good, but it does sound great.
It does sound good.
Danny Gatton was the first guy I saw do that. To the,
Yeah,
that
it's a
was-
real common mod, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely improves comfort if you're not used to the ashtray bridge. But I am used to the ashtray bridge.
Yep.
The other thing is, the wear is really interesting.
Right.
Obviously sanded,
Yes.
as opposed to worn,
Yes.
and of course done on a flipping amazing budget.
Yeah. Right.
And they probably make plenty of them. But it is interesting. You can see why this guitar is as much as it is, and why that guitar is as much as it is.
Yeah.
Which is not. I'm not being too critical, by the way. It's just a reality of what it is.
Yeah. Very nice. Very
but it
nice.
is great. It sounds great. It looks great. I love Jason Isbell. Everything else is awesome.
Yeah. It does sound superb.
It's hard to put into words how much I love Jason Isbell.
Try.
I don't have the words.
Okay.
Trouble is, when you've done the kind of jobs that I've done over the years, probably the same for any of you who've worked in a vintage guitar store, hung out with loads of people with really nice vintage guitars. If you've been exposed to that stuff, you just can't unsee it.
Totally.
And here I am, never been smart enough to either acquire vintage guitars or ever have a job that would allow me to throw enough money at vintage guitars. If I'd have been smarter, same as all of us, 20, when I was spending all my money down the pub,
cryptocurrency, you would have gone straight cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
bought Apple,
yeah.
and shares in.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Made a load of better decisions. Probably could have had a bunch of nice vintage guitars by now, but I was too dumb to do that, and the rest is history, literally. At a point now where it's very hard to unsee those things that one has seen, which is
In
why I'm
so many ways.
which is why I'm so critical of new guitars.
Sure.
And which is not to say that there's anything wrong with new guitars or they're not great. It's not to say that. It's just that I have a particular aesthetic.
No, I totally get that.
I know, but it probably sounds a bit bad-tempered to people who like new guitars. And
No,
and
it's
then the
fine.
question is, well, why the hell did you buy it then?
You're allowed to like what you like.
You're not, Dan. Not on the internet. You're not allowed to like anything. If you like anything, you're going to get kicked down the street, mate. I can tell you. Yes. Bev, thanks for that text. Daniel Herbert, we've answered him. All good. The flip side of the coin on the Isbell telly, I'm going to play some music on it. As opposed to Endless This.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually going to play some music on it.
Lovely.
And I think that's where its value is.
Awesome. Well, I think it sounds spectacular.
It does.
Really does. So I'm looking forward to it.
That show is going to be really interesting. I hadn't realised how different it sounds to the tellies that I've got used to hearing.
Right.
I mean, it is
Markedly different.
almost radically different, isn't
Yeah.
it? Almost like a different... You would almost say it wasn't the same type of guitar.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear it with different strings on it.
Yeah. And with the bridge saddles fixed.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Not bad films. What's your favourite not bad film, Dan?
My favourite not bad film,
Yeah.
King of Comedy.
And is that a good film or is it not a bad one? Is it not bad?
No, it's
not-
the
not
best
bad.
film. It's one of the best films ever,
So
actually.
that's not bad, is it? What's
yeah,
not
but
bad?
no, it is. It's the very definition of not bad.
Right.
Genius.
Yeah, not bad to me. Sort of says, what do you think of that? Well, it wasn't bad. It's not bad.
Oh, there's loads of them.
Yeah.
Any Star Wars made after 1983, not bad. Any
Police Academy 6.
many.
I don't even know if there was a 6. Was there a 6?
Oh, I think there was a 12. It was unbelievable.
Anyway, not bad films. What are your thoughts on Roger Mayer? He's notable in the history of effects. You could say that.
Yeah.
And he's still making pedals, yet I never see his gear on TPS.
He was my first ever interview.
Yeah, I've interviewed him a few times down
And-
the years.
So, Mick got me to write a column in Guitar By magazine, and you said, Mick got me to go and interview Roger Mayer. So Roger Mayer and Del Casher. Del was in London,
Oh, yeah.
and so he said, I want you to go down and talk to these guys. And I was so made up to be meeting them. That was the day that I went and bought my Hiwatt custom tape echo.
No way.
I was in there and they had it in the store and I grabbed it and yeah. But Roger Mayer is a fascinating individual.
Incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
Just before we get into that a bit more, I'm going to turn the super chat off now. So if you super chatted by now, we will answer you. But I'm going to turn them off now just to give us enough time to get to the end of the show and make sure we answer everybody in the fullness of full.
Indeed.
Off we go. I understand the implications of this action. They don't ask you that when you turn it on. They're like, yay! Yes, funnily enough, when Dan and I were in Japan with Boss 2 years ago, 18 months ago, I wanted to buy a fuzz. I wanted to buy a fuzz in Japan just because I wanted to buy a fuzz. And I tried a couple of Roger Mayer pedals, and I played many down the years. His Voodoo Vibe, or Voodoo Axe, I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, the Univibe type pedal is really excellent.
That's amazing.
One of the things I think Roger has done exceptionally well is incorporated sensible things into great sounding vintage designs.
Yeah.
So sorted out the input and output impedances,
See, that's interesting about Roger. He's not hung up on the vintage thing.
not in the slightest.
Yep. Look at the Roger Mayer Accessoire. for an amazing take on a wah pedal.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Would be great to see, to catch up with where Roger's stuff is now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fascinating guy, and clearly makes awesome stuff. So
Yeah.
Yep. Right. See you all. He used to phone up, actually, guitarist.
Did he?
You've got that wrong. Actually, he wouldn't say that. He would say, well, I was just reading it, and I just noticed. I wonder if you'd thought about this. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
What you're saying, Roger, is we got that wrong. He's like, well, no, yes.
I got like, when I did my first, I think one of the first things I wrote was on the CE1, and I mentioned Andy Summers, and I got an email from Pete Cornish saying, just to let you know, Andy Summers was a Electric Mistress. I'm like, yeah,
Sorry, Pete.
sorry, Pete. I love you.
That's in someone else.
Don't think bad of me.
We really should amass some Pete Cornish stuff and give that a schwang.
Yeah.
Because Dan and I have played most things in our lives. I can't say I've ever knowingly played a Pete Cornish pedal.
Oh, I've played a few.
Have you?
Uh,
You know, I can...
into a high watt, best, just nothing like them.
I can tell you why I'll spend £300 on an overdrive instead of 100. I can tell you that. I
Yeah.
can tell you with my ears. I'm not sure if I could tell you why I would spend 700
Sure.
instead of 300, taking away silly vintage value and con
yeah.
ridiculousness.
Yeah.
For just put that in the bin. Pointless. But you know, like a new pedal.
Mm.
I'm interested to know if I can hear that.
Sure. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Great. That's a great show.
Yeah, Realm of Melino. I think you were on last week, Realm of Melino, asking a very similar question from Norway. Describe
Or
your
maybe it's deja vu.
That happened to me just recently.
I thought you just said that.
Yeah. Was it? It's a shame there's no French word for it. What was that? It was a film. Anyway, describe your perfect SG, says Realm of Melino, and when will you buy it?
Oh, okay.
We definitely had this question last week. It was deja vu.
I don't know. I've got my Junior. I don't need any other SGs.
Pelham Blue that's faded
right.
to green with the ridiculous... One of the ridiculous ones. I get one of them goes up and down, the other one goes up and down.
One's the
Side to
Maestro
side.
Vibrola, and one's the that
Yeah.
thing,
Maestro Vibrola and the...
the rock and roller.
There's a name for it, isn't it? Anyway, big thing back there. Pelham Blue gone green because the nitro's is yellowed over the years. And it's difficult, actually. I did see a custom once in that colour that I really loved.
Mm.
But it's probably got to be a standard, and it's 61 spec standard. Yeah.
They're amazing guitars. I remember seeing.
I really, really want one, but I just can't. I'm just not... I was going to say man enough. I'm just not personal enough to pony up for it.
Sure. They're incredible. They're surprisingly flexible.
I love 'em.
I saw Paul Stacey play with Neil Finn,
Mm.
and he was on the SG for most of the night.
Yeah.
He'd get most of the things he needed out of that guitar.
The couple that I've had through my possession over the years, I've just loved them.
Yeah.
For me, because, you know, being a Strat and sort of Fender player predominantly, all the Les Pauls that I've had access to over the years have been just too thick and too fat and too powerful and just not my thing at all, until I got to play like proper 59 style ones,
Right.
which is a different thing, a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And I really like those. So the SG for me was always the Gibson that I could play as a Strat player. Tonally.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It doesn't sound anything like a Strat, but it
Yeah.
also doesn't have all that bloat of the
yeah.
Les Paul.
Yeah.
Which I say in a non-pejorative way, because obviously lots of people really love that and they gear their whole rigs around it. But
Yep.
I didn't understand that as a young man. I'm back again, says Jacob Bartelt.
Hey, Jacob.
Hello. He says, I've been wanting to play more blues. and more music like Joey Landreth.
Well,
any tips on where to begin and learn? I'm completely new to that world.
okay. It's really okay. I'm gonna please no one take this the wrong way. It's simple enough to get started, but when you actually realise how these amazing players are getting these sounds all within a pentatonic scale, not that Joey's it's all within the pentatonic scale, but oh man,
yeah.
There is so much involved in that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, you're talking about blues, which is, a giant. So if we read between the lines and understand what you mean about blues, I guess you're talking what Dan just alluded to, minor pentatonic. Where do we even begin with blues? Do we say that it's Robert Johnson? Do we say that it's Muddy Waters? Do we say that it's Eric Clapton? Do we say that it's Doyle Bramall? Do we say that it's Albert King? Do we, it's vast.
It's vast.
And but the thing that's interesting is that Clappo played the same notes as BB.
Yeah.
Played the same notes. Just list them. There's the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic, and there's a few notes in between to connect the two. And in Clapton's case, think about the Sunshine of Your Love solo. Starts major, starts minor.
Into major.
And then as it goes to the 4 chord, he does this. He bends all the way through the major to the minor, and it's so hard. I mean, if you listen to a lot of novice blues guitar players, the one thing they cannot get their head around is that you cannot play this note. You're not allowed
On the 4
to.
chord.
You're not allowed to. If you're playing a minor blues, right?
Right.
You're not allowed to play that major third.
Okay.
You're just not. But guess what? If you want to bend to it, you can bend halfway to it, no problem. No, don't want to hear that. Right? Clapton is a master at it. So if you take Clapton as a start point and work back,
Right.
what you fill in is Albert, BB and Freddie.
I literally have deja vu right now.
No way.
That's so weird.
And those 3 guys, Albert King, BB King and Freddie King,
We Three Kings.
they've been referred to as the 3 Kings many times.
Right.
There is everything to learn from those guys.
Yeah.
If you're talking about blues, what Joey does is Joey plays awesome slide guitar, obviously, and if he wants to just rag on an amazing slide guitar thing, he's totally capable of doing it. But the harmonic complexity in what Joey plays is literally
Staggering.
up there
Staggering.
with anybody
Yep.
who has ever existed.
Yeah. It's staggering.
It is utterly staggering.
You know, I was watching some. What's the big festival?
Coachella,
No,
Woodstock.
no, one here on the
Glastonbury.
farm, Glastonbury. They had Glastonbury like legends and just clips of stuff. And I heard a band start and I heard one note and went, "That's BB King."
Yeah.
And then, of course, there it was. And it was a single note. And it was like, how do you get to a point? And I
All the
get
same
it with,
notes.
I get it with your playing as well. I hear you note, but I hear you do a thing. And it's like, there's a way to play a note and eke the sound out of it that you've got. But it's like, how can you learn to do that? And quickly, because I know I've got a lot to get through, I found out this amazing thing that I never really cottoned onto before. Is about, because I'm doing this, jazz hands at the moment. And I'm doing all these complicated chords and the complicated scale stuff. And I thought, oh, I'm going to just try and play the melody. And it's like, gee, that sounds awful. And I had to really think and sit down and stop and go, okay, how am I approaching this? And just things like,
Yeah, right.
And
Make it vocal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And now when I and just playing a simple melody is a really great way to start. If you can't make a really simple melody sound great, forget about the other stuff. Just start with something really simple. But the
was
thing
for
is,
you.
thank you. The thing it's like,
His neighbours.
good lord. But yeah, but that's where it's got to start, right? If you very good. Yeah, just start playing simple melodies and try and make them speak.
More prosaically, back to Joey, just for the last bit of that, Jacob. You can really start to sound a bit like Joey if you tune your guitar to drop C, E tuning, right? So it's the E major intervals. But this string is down to C sharp, I think, isn't it? Or C.
Yeah, it's either a minor third or a major third lower.
Yeah, and then to piece some of that melodic stuff that he does together, learn harmonising the major scale. So. And you can learn it in triads, and you can learn it in sixths, and you can learn it in thirds. That is the core of all music, and it is how Joey pieces together how he moves from one chord to the next chord by doing that at its most simplest. And that is so far away from minor pentatonic blues, it's literally another planet. Yeah, you could start with the old and learn to harmonise that.
Yeah.
It's
Surprisingly challenging.
It is the. You'd think, why would you bother with simple melodies like that? If you can get your head around those melodies, like
Yeah.
Dan just said, and then learn to harmonise them, the guitar suddenly opens.
Yeah. And so
And you'll never be lost on the fretboard
this stuff, I mean, it's all amazing, but if you, without being able to do a simple melody, I mean, man, I listened to a Chris Buck video the other day, and someone being able to take a simple melody and make it sing,
Yeah.
but that's what he's done, right? He's listened to singers and how are they approaching that note? What's the vibrato going on there? And that's why he sounds the way he does. So yeah, start with simple melodies. Sorry, we really went into that, and that's going to push us way over time.
Ah, well.
But that's
It's not
why
like you're
it's
moving
fun.
house in 2 days' time.
No.
Less than
it's
2
good.
days now.
Let's let's keep going with that question, because if we can push it, I'll take it home till all the kids are in bed.
Yeah,
That'd be wicked.
yeah, and all the boxes will be packed.
Yep.
Andy K. Hello, Andy. He says,
Hey, Andy.
greetings, chaps. Have you had the chance to try the Walrus Audio Polychrome Flanger? Any thoughts? Everything else they make seems pretty great.
We don't have one yet.
Is it new?
Yes, it's their new flanger.
Oh,
It
nice.
does. I've seen it. It does look really great.
They probably won't send it because Dan doesn't like digital flangers.
Is it digital?
I would
I
imagine
don't
so.
think. I don't think it is.
Really?
No, it's not this. It's this. It's the same series as the Julia. I think it's analog.
Really? I'll be amazed. Oh, it is analog.
Yeah.
Okay, they might send it then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologise for that besmirchment on Walrus Audio's fine nature there.
Yeah, no, because I think the Julia chorus is fantastic. The tremolos and stuff, amazing, and would love to try it out. But yeah, as yet haven't tried it out.
Going to be good, isn't it?
Going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Chris Klein, never trust a person who doesn't love dogs. I'm inclined to agree. He says, my dog, a Barbet, is about 10 days away from having her first litter.
Ah,
Puppies. Yeah. I know quite a few people who are frightened of dogs.
yeah. I know people have had really bad experiences with dogs. I won't go into it, but our house is a very different place with the dog.
Jesus,
And
it does.
it's just wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. 63.7% of the time.
Sure. She's a puppy. She's still a puppy.
I know.
And it's going to
I
get
know.
easier.
What I liked this morning was at 3:10 a.m. coming down the stairs, going, that didn't sound very good, and then stepping onto the hardwood floor into a puddle of diarrhea. That was great. That was really brilliant. But to be fair, that's the first diarrheic experience we've had. I came down the stairs. Couldn't see where I was going. Heard a kind of splatter. Then it was between my toes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's the blues album sorted then. Who was it who did the narcissistic, self-obsessive blues? Who did that? Was it Paul Gilbert, maybe?
That
Anyway.
sounds, yeah.
Yes, you're right, Chris. And good luck with the litter. How lovely.
Yeah. Wonderful, mate.
The patter of tiny feet and thousands of dollars. Buzz Wilson. I was listening to Chris Tone Kingfish Ingram, and then TPS comes on. Great way to start my day. Greetings from Central Texas. Well, thanks, Buzz.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. And hello to Central Texas. Andrew Easton Bentley. Hi, Andrew. He says, I've got a Telly and a Les Paul, and I want an ES guitar. I'm torn between a 330 or a 335. Will a 335 tread on the LP's toes a bit? Please help.
This is such a wonderful question. So
Well, yeah.
basically, the difference between them is a 335 is a semi-hollow guitar. It's got a solid block all the way down the middle, which the pickups are mounted into, and then the hollow bits on the side. But yeah, it's solid all the way through. Whereas a 330...
It's not a 330. This is an Epiphone
Yeah, but-
Casino, but it's the same
It's the
thing.
same sort of idea.
Just with one less zero.
There's no center block. It's hollow all the way through. And they are chalk and
Yeah. The other thing about the traditional spec 330 and 335 is where the neck joins. So on the 330, it's at the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th fret.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Which means if you're this guy, or girl, or they, if you're that person, no good. Whereas this, so remember, 16,
Yeah.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, right.
More frets, if
Very
you
good.
care about this. Which is quite a big deal for a lot of people, because some people do care about that. No money up there.
Love that. That's so good.
I don't know who coined that phrase. I hope it was Chet Atkins.
The phrase is, well, there's no money up that end.
No, there's not.
So
You don't
yeah,
get paid
yeah.
up there.
No,
You
no,
get
no.
paid for here.
Yeah.
Ask Tom Bukovac. So yeah, they're really, really different things. They're really, really different things. I think if you play loud rock music, you might struggle with the 330 because
Yeah.
they are very feedback prone.
Very feedback prone.
If you play slightly less loud, I mean, don't get me wrong, I use the Casino at fairly high gain, and if you're careful and you can control it,
But it's a consideration.
it is a consideration. If you play loud with a lot of distortion, then probably the 330 is not the guitar for you. If you play in that sort of mid, clean to a little bit of overdrive, 330 is just a fantastically resonant guitar, and it's very, very, very different from the Les Paul, whereas the 335 is a bit different.
A bit different, yeah. But with the 330 at volume,
Significantly different.
becomes this instrument,
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I don't know if you're able to go and play some, but I would really so strongly recommend the Memphis-made 330s if you can find them.
Right.
I just think the VOS, everything about it, they were fab guitars.
Yep.
Really fab guitars. In fact, Anderson's put one on their Instagram feed about 2 months ago.
Really?
And it was a 330 Sunburst. I phoned up Paul and said, can you hang on to that just for a second? And he's like, sorry, mate, already sold it.
Ah.
Like within minutes of it going up. So I ordered a Collings i30 instead.
Yeah, you did.
Good luck, Andrew. Sub Rosa. Mick, I saw your Guitarist Murphy Lab video. VOS versus Murphy Cracked. What wins for you? Also, Gibson versus Fender Nitro feels quite different. What's your preference?
Oh, that's an interesting question, actually.
I wish I had more knowledge about this. I was discussing with Ron Ellis yesterday about why my blue guitar doesn't sound very good. And he's like, maybe you should have it refinished in like a proper hard Nitro.
Wow.
Because the new Nitro is not like the old Nitro. And
Yeah.
I knew that. And I'm like, no way. I'm not doing that. It's just not worth that.
Yeah.
But, you know, somebody with that depth of knowledge about guitars and about finishes and all the rest of it, Nitro is not one thing down the years.
No.
For sure. Now, I certainly remember in my journalist days, a lot of Gibson USA Nitro being crazy soft.
Red.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And I think, I don't know whether that was climactic is a whole other thing.
Climatrometric.
Or what, but yeah, it's a good question. That Murphy 59 heavy relic, or whatever they call it, heavy age Les Paul was the bomb. It was
Wow.
amazing. The 335 I didn't like at all. It just looked like, well, I say I didn't like at all. I just thought it was a bit. They just don't crack like that.
Right.
If you like, I don't know, drive through the night at -40, get home, take it out the case and stick it next to a radiator, it might crack like that.
Right.
But it's just these huge, great longitudinal cracks, and it just doesn't look quite right to me. And in my personal experience, having just been talking about the Memphis VOSs,
Wow.
you know, my 335 looks really nice.
It's beautiful.
And some of the Sunburst ones, and certainly Neville's red 63 335 looks bob on.
Right.
Even better than that. So
You don't see a lot of Sunburst 335s. I mean, I see lots of cherry ones,
yeah,
but Sunburst. I mean, obviously you got the Derek Carlton stuff, but it's just, yeah, I don't see them that often.
yeah, probably red is the most common colour. Feels to me like red is probably the most common colour, thanks to Chuck Berry and maybe Alvin Lee.
Yeah, right. Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else played a red 335, or maybe Eric Clapton. His very famous 63 or 64 that he played with Cream. There's going to be some others, aren't there? I think Freddie King had a red 355 maybe. Anyway, doesn't matter. 4-5. Veritone. Yeah, I personally, VOS.
Yeah. Good shout.
But that 59 Les Paul was banging.
Nice.
As is that Gold Top.
I haven't watched it yet. Your video. With
Oh, yeah. It's good. It's all right. We don't play much. We talk a lot.
Okay.
And then stumble around a few things.
I just seeing you with someone else was like, oh.
Well, I sat in your chair because I thought that would just be too weird.
Okay, good.
Yeah, check out the
Good.
Guitarist Magazine channel. My old friend Neville, I used to work at Guitarist Magazine for anyone who doesn't know. And my old friend Neville was my first ever boss. He came in and he brought the Murphy Labs and we made a video for the Guitarist Magazine
Yeah,
channel.
yeah. And Neville's great.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Nina Head DJ, Have you ever tried a pre-57 Les Paul Custom with the staple neck pickup? I just ordered one made to measure. Wow.
Well, tried the original. We did a video at ATB Guitars, and they had one on the wall. And that staple neck pickup, man, there's nothing like it.
Really cool thing.
Yeah, really
cool.
cool.
And quite different. I did a video on my, not the same thing at all, but my gold top PRS McCarty, and I tried a bunch of different neck pickups, one of which was a staple. You might want to check that out as well.
Nice, very good.
Just quite a different thing. Congrats on that guitar. I'm sure that will be something pretty special.
It's awesome, mate. Well done.
Tobias Brandt, he says, "Hi Mick, my 2 Rock Classic Reverb signature arrived. Mind sharing your settings as a starting point?" Yeah, okay. Get a pencil. Ready? Okay. FET off.
Mm-hmm.
The bright switch on and treble at between 1 and 2 o'clock. The mid switch on and the middle about 11 to 12 o'clock. The deep cut off, down. And the bass around about 10 to 11 o'clock. I use EQ2 because it's the most gainy. And to me, that sounds better at lower volumes. At higher volumes, EQ1 can just give you a bit more headroom. But anyway, EQ1. Gain, it depends how I'm using it. It's usually 10 or 11 o'clock. But then sometimes if I'm pushing it, it'll be 2, 3 o'clock.
Right.
Master, in here on 100 watts below 9 o'clock. It's insanely loud. But it sounds best at about 11 to 12, in my opinion. That's where it really is happening.
That thing turned up is easily one of, if not the best, sounding amplifier I've ever heard.
It's pretty awesome. Gain structure I have, again, in the up position, which is the classic 2 Rock position. The middle one is the gainiest position, and the bottom one's more blackface Fender. Pick them as you like. And it does make quite a significant difference. Now, I prefer it, having just talked about all those EQ settings, I actually prefer it with the EQ bypassed. It just sounds so open in that environment. What's quite cool is if you've got the foot switch, you can use that as a kind of a boost.
Right.
You can turn that on and off. And then reverb, send and return, I usually have them straight up. And the contour, usually just edge towards the more, the less soft and bassy side, whichever side that is. So a bit more cutting and trebly. And that's the start point. But I've got to be honest with you, I don't know how long I've had it now, maybe over 3 years. And I'm still learning. I'm really still learning. Matt Schofield runs it completely different. He runs it with the gain structure in the blackface. He runs the master cranked around to sort of 3 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock. You know, and I would probably go with his settings over mine every day of the week. Yeah, it's a bonkers thing, and it's hard work, actually.
Right. It's hard work because it's so detailed, and you've got to be on your game.
It's the absolute opposite of everything I was saying about the Yamaha THR 10
exactly, exactly.
There's nothing easy or friendly about it.
How do we do a show
that explains that?
Because that's such a big. It's really so. Like the Yamaha will sound great. I'm sure it will sound great, but
it sounds amazing.
But the experience of being here in the room, trying to feel connected to it, whereas with that and the matches and that sort of stuff, when that comes on, it's like
I'm going to say it's like a race car.
Right.
The best analogy I can offer is it's like a race car. If you get your favourite racing driver of choice, let's say Lewis Hamilton, for example, and you stick him in a Qashqai, damn sure he's going to get to Sainsbury's quicker than you.
Right.
But he's not going to keep up with Fernando Alonso.
No.
He's not going to get that braking apex right on the corner of whatever that corner is is the difficult corner.
Oh, someone had a comment this week.
And that's it. It's in the hands of a proper player like Matt or like Doyle or like, I don't know, someone who really is a master of their craft. Something like that, and I'm sorry, I'm pointing to the 2 Rock, gives them the tool they need to do that job. Whereas something that's easy and soft and, you know, can all sound good and it can make you better, but they're just never, ever gonna. And someone's going to say, well, Philip Ace played the Yamaha THR and made it sound amazing. Yes, he did.
It's Philip Ace.
And it sounded amazing, but it doesn't sound as amazing as when he's playing Mother.
Yeah, right.
You know, the Tommy Cougar amp, his amp, you know, that is amazing.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, that's how I would describe it. And that's when I say it's difficult and when I say it's hard, you know, back to Lewis Hamilton, he puts his race suit on, his helmet on, and he gets his race face on. And that's when he can drive that car.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, you know, stick your Crocs on and go down to Sainsbury's in the Qashqai, you don't need to worry about it quite so much, and it's just much easier.
That's a really good analogy, actually.
That's my analogy.
Yep.
Yeah. Enjoy that amp. Congratulations. It's well, changed everything for me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I wish I could get my race face on more regularly. Serial Frost. Hello, Serial Frost. He says, cheers, gents. Life kept getting away from me for 2 weeks. I think we know how that feels.
Life kept getting away from me for life.
I wanted to ask what acoustic treatments you suggest for your studio. Also, BV for the Nobel Prize 2021.
Yeah, totally.
I think we all agree with that.
Acoustic treatment is a massive thing. So a very good friend of ours, Tom, works for the Universal Audio.
Tom Waterman.
We were asking him about, we now have a studio set up and it's wonderful.
We're almost there.
Almost there. Can't wait to make some music in there. And we said to Tom, or Mick said to Tom, you know, how do we set this up? And Tom says, oh, send me the dimensions and tell me what the walls are made of and this stuff. And Tom sent back this thesis on the room.
15 or 16 page document.
Of mathematical formulas. And so it's not just about standing waves. It's talking about what the material, you know, what the rooms are made of,
what the walls are made of, what the void is above the ceiling.
And then he came back with this plan of what to use and where to put them. So it's one thing to put up a baffle here and there, and that can be really helpful. But again, how far do you want to take it? You know, how dead sounding do you want the room?
It's like anything where the law of diminishing marginal returns is in effect.
Yep.
So the room that we've got is a very nice, rectangular, evenly proportioned
I want
room.
to have a little mobile cam. So I'll run in there and go.
We'll do it soon. And so it's a good start point, right? Flat, square walls, which from a start point in terms of treating it is good. However, it sounds horrific with nothing on the walls because obviously you've just got reflection everywhere. And you don't want a dead sound. Well, maybe you do want a dead sound. A lot of really great famous studios have something called live end, dead end, where you've got a live end and a dead end.
Right.
And the dead end's where you do your mixing, and the live end is where you mic up your drum kit. If it's just, you know, if you've only got one room. And I don't understand this stuff. What I do know is that when you listen to your monitors, you want to hear your monitors, and you don't want to hear all the early reflections off the walls there, off the ceiling there, and off whatever's behind you. So you can go from really bad to something pretty serviceable very cost effectively with judicious placement of some half decent acoustic panels, just to get rid of those immediate early reflections.
It's acoustic jujitsu.
Right.
An inch left or right can make all the difference in the world.
And then the next thing is, you know, bass is a problem. Bass traps everywhere, and working out where to place them. And then then at that point, I think at this point we've spent, I don't know, 1,500 quid on acoustic treatment, which is in my world a stupid amount of money.
And yet
to spend on a few panels. In the real world, it's nothing, because if you go to a decent studio, they'll have spent insert number here, and keep adding noughts.
Man.
So. But then the realism comes in where you go, well, you know, number one, me and Dan are not Glyn Johns, and or I don't know, pick your favourite producer of choice. And this is not
Real World.
Electric Lady
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Real
yeah,
World.
yeah.
So, there, as always, there is a point of diminishing marginal returns where we go, actually, this is good enough and serviceable enough for what we need to achieve. Get rid of those immediate early reflections. And actually, if you go onto lots of the sort of sound design websites, and I would recommend GIK Acoustics, GIK, which is where we bought our stuff. And they very happily didn't offer us a discount. I felt quite good about that. They're like, well, no. In fact, I didn't even ask. I could tell by the tone of the email there was just literally no way there's going to be a discount, which is fine. You know, it's fine, totally fine. They've got really good diagrams. They've got great downloadable help stuff. And actually, if you're serious, they will offer you a consultation, which they did. And a very nice guy in Germany taught me through it. And
Nice.
was like, try this, try this. I then spoke to Tom, and we sort of made a compromise of, I think Tom's suggestions came in at somewhere just below £3,000. I was like, nah, literally can't afford that. So we need to just ease back a little bit from there and decide what's essential. But the point being, you can go from awful to something pretty decent for not too much money.
Yeah, yeah. And it does make all the difference in the world. So,
Yeah.
but consult someone who really knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And these places that are selling acoustic treatment panels and stuff, they'll be able to help you.
Yeah. And, you know, at the very least, you can go onto Amazon and buy a bunch of those expanded
Tiles. The
tiles,
acoustic
and that
tiles,
will
yeah.
you know, that will do a job. It's
Yeah.
not ideal, but it will do a job. So yeah, we will show you that in due course. And you know, the minute we put a camera in there and show everyone, they'll be like, "Oh, it's rubbish. You don't know what you're talking about." That is probably true, but it's a lot better than it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good luck, Toby. Serial Frost. Reese Richardson. I really want a high watt. What's the best year for a 50 watt? Mid 70s.
Yeah. Mid-70s. There you go.
Ours is a 73. Our 100 watt. Yeah. High watt's been through so many. It's very hard.
Yeah.
So if you get a Harry Joyce Reeves era one.
To be fair, there's probably like on Facebook and stuff. There's some really good high watt pages with some very knowledgeable people. Chris at Custom Pedal Boards is a incredibly knowledgeable high watt aficionado, and he can talk high watts all day.
Might be talking because High Watt recently got purchased, and I think the people that own it now are pretty passionate about it.
Great.
Which isn't to say that whoever owned it before weren't passionate about it, but there was a sort of contested trademark in different parts of the world. I think now it's owned globally by one party.
Great.
So they may be a good resource.
Yeah. Cool.
Maybe. Interesting. 2 questions on the Future Factory. Roger Newport says, "Evening chaps, I got a Future Factory today, but I haven't had the chance to try it yet. I didn't want to miss a rare opportunity to watch VCQ live." Well, thanks,
Oh,
Roger.
bless you, mate.
He says, "What are your top tips for getting the best out of it?"
Okay. So, stereo, it's amazing. If you're running it mono, you've got the option to have the dual delay engines in series or parallel. Mess around with that because it's wonderful. Also, the EQs on the repeats. We're quite used to having top end filtering on the repeats. One thing that the Future Factory does that's incredible is it lets you filter the bottom end as well. And for things like echo rec simulations and that, being able to control the amount of bottom end of those repeats is absolutely critical. So have a good play with the filtering. But just play. It's the most wonderful sounding delay. Totally inspirational. Just have a really good play with it.
the presets, if you've got the same 4 presets that were in ours, they are fantastic.
Yeah.
They give you a really good indication of what it's capable of. And then I would absolutely recommend reading the manual, which is something you never hear me say. That's what I did. I sat down, I read the manual, and I learned the UI inside out. So it looks incredibly complex when you look at it, but actually, one of the things I love about the Future Factory, and indeed the flight time, is that it's always WYSIWYG. You can
so
literally
clever.
push the button on the top and you know where you are. There's no menu diving as such. Everything is only a couple of button pushes away. And once you learn how to select something, change it and save it, that process is the same for each of the features. And yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Have
Also,
fun, mate. Enjoy it. It's wonderful.
The 2 knobs top left give you instant access to volume and feedback.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be pressing other buttons. So
Yeah.
if it's too loud or too many repeats, you can easily change that in a global way. And the last thing to say is you can turn off one of the delay engines, so you can actually hear what that one's doing and what that one's doing.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Very cool.
Good up. And Adrian Jordan says, I got myself a Future Factory. And I'm planning on getting a G3.
Oh, legend. Thank you,
Dan,
bud.
can G3 select presets in the Future Factory?
Oh, yeah. And the rest. So with the expression pedal in, you can control all the parameters of the Future Factory. Yeah. It's really, really good.
He also wants to know, can he use the stereo function on the Future Factory to run 2 separate delay lines in separate loops in G3?
Yes. Yes, you can. Well, if you're running it in stereo, you're going to have those separate delay lines on left and right. But you can run 2 loops in parallel and just have the stereo it up that way. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to do it.
What he just said, plus what we said before about it can be run in stereo or parallel. So if your route to getting 2 separate delay type sounds is by putting the 2 separate delays in 2 different loops, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just run it stereo, but program it so that it's parallel.
Yes.
And you can, if you go to preset 1, that might be one delay line, and preset 2 might be the other delay line. So you don't have to separate them.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll do all of it. Great.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Mark Davis, thanks Mark. No question from you. Let's see if BV has sent it to me. No, but we've got one from we missed from Tommy R last week.
Oh,
Tommy, we're sorry we missed you.
sorry, Tommy.
He says he's building a new board. He's got a CBA Bliss Factory. Cool.
Nice. Very nice.
That's Chase Bliss Audio and ZVEX First Factory, Bliss Factory.
Very cool.
A Spaceman Artemis, an envelope filter, a KMI Maui Octave, Jam Retro Vibe. So he's got the first, obviously. What about the rest? So we've got fuzz first. Yep. We know that. We've then got an envelope filter, an octave, and a retro vibe.
Okay, so just remember, if the pedal's a true bypass, like for example, the envelope filter wants to see the dynamics coming from your pick. It needs to be early on in the chain. If you want to run your envelope filter with your fuzz and you put the envelope filter after the fuzz, it's just the fuzz is going to be hammering the envelope sensitivity. If it's true bypass, I'd put the envelope right at the front, even before the fuzz. But if it's not, it needs to go after the fuzz. Assuming, I mean, you might play them together. I don't know. We like I can't remember the fuzz into the vibe. Or was the vibe into the fuzz? There was.
I have my vibe after the fuzz.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of argument for having it before. If you put your vibe after your fuzz, he hasn't got a vibe though.
Retro vibe. Didn't he say?
Oh, he does. Yeah. Okay. if you put the retro vibe after your fuzz, which you are,
You're just stunned. I remembered something, aren't you?
I am, because the fuzz is first. You've said the fuzz is first, so your retro vibe has to be after. It can be really useful to have some overdrive after that, whether it's either in your amp or on the board.
Yep.
So
That's
did we
a good
get
shout.
there? We said fuzz, envelope filter.
Yep. Retro vibe and overdrive. Plus whatever else he's got.
Octave and filter. That's a tough one.
It's really they're all things that want to be at the front. Okay. The question is, what's their bypass state? So are they true bypass pedals?
Yeah.
And then, what combinations are you going to use? Like for example, if you don't use your octave and your filter together, then it doesn't matter. But if you use them together, then you really want that filter to be in front of the octave.
Oh, it's really hard.
It's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, I would pick 2 pedals, which you're not sure. Try them both way round and start there.
Yeah.
Because how you use them is going to differ to how the next person might use them.
Yep.
So you need to just work out what you want it to do. And you might not know that, but you will when you put them, when you do your little magician's hands there. Then you'll know.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yep.
Right, Medieval Cookery with Arpad. Hello,
Hey,
Arpad.
iPad.
Smoke us a squirrel. He says, Dan, don't put your AC10 in a 112. Put it in a 115.
I want to do a 115 show. I've fascinated. So I've been looking at some videos, and surprisingly, small amounts of information out there about 15s. I've never played one.
We nearly had a Marshall 2x15 cab last week. It was the auction, the Gardner Hallgate auction, and I was bidding on stuff willy-nilly, mostly willy,
Bit of Italy.
and failing. My auction game.
The only option that was going well was the 2x15. It's going, no.
My auction game isn't really what it was. Everything goes for stupid money. I'm not doing any more auctions. eBay's much better.
Okay.
Because not only does it go for stupid money, you've then got to pay a 24% buyer's
Yeah.
premium. Insane. Anyway, yes, 15s.
Yes. I'm really super keen to get a 15 cab and just try it with a bunch of heads and see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Great.
ATB Pop. Hello, ATB.
Hey,
Says 2 things I've never been able to get on with: strats and modulation. Have you got any suggestions for a guy who loves tallies and reverbs drenched in fuzz?
You're in the perfect place. Just stay there. There's no need to venture outside.
Yeah.
Enjoy and embrace.
Yeah. Literally don't bother with the strat. Waste of time. Modulation-wise, a phaser is what you need to add to your reverb-drenched fuzz.
Yeah, definitely a tremolo. So, tremolos and reverb work so beautifully together because it's a combination that we know, right? The old tremolo amplifiers, reverb amplifiers that just marry so well. So tremolo is a really good one. It's also great because it doesn't modulate the pitch. A lot of people have issues with modulation pedals modulating the pitch, chorus, vibrato, and it can be, overdone. It can be a hard thing to listen to. But tremolo, because it's modulating amplitude, the volume's going up and down, it's a great modulation that never gets annoying, as it were, the way that pitch modulation can. So yeah, tremolo is definitely a good one to stick in there as well.
Awesome. Mark, who we had a question from earlier, Mark Davis, he didn't have a question. He just wants you to know, Dan, that he's got an original electric Mistress arriving this week.
You are a legend, sir. I doth my cap to you, sir, in your general direction.
Cap docked. Chris Groom, Chris, your generosity is overwhelming, and thank you. He says, I haven't got a question. I just thought I'd help out. Keep up the great shows.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Chris, that's
so kind.
Immensely generous of you. Thank you so much. Paul Matulovic. Hi, Paul. He says, do you like the LA30 enough that I should drive to the next state and pick one up?
The LA30.
Yeah, the LA30 BL.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
It is fantastic, and I was sad that the day it went.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, if you're in, let's see, Ohio, and you're going to go to, what's the next state to Ohio?
Olowo.
Yeah, and you've just got to go across the state line. Easy. If you're in like southeast Texas and you've got to drive to I don't know, what's at the top left-hand side of Texas?
Northwest Texas.
Yeah, Nevada or something, is it?
Cool.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ontario. Newfoundland. It's probably a bit further,
Right.
but yes.
Yeah. Very different story here, though. Got to drive to the next village. It's all good.
I'm just going to Google American states. Let's see. Maps. There we are. Right. Ohio doesn't exist. Oh, I see. Ohio's in between Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Michigan. I thought Ohio was in the middle. Not at all. I was thinking of Iowa.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. New Mexico is top left of Texas, or Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
And you wouldn't have to go very far to be in Colorado. Nevada is
Really?
nowhere near Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. Apologies to all Americans for not knowing our states very
For
well.
so many reasons.
Yeah. Guitar Moog. He says hi from Brussels, Belgium.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
He says, 6 months ago I tried my first PRS, a CE24, and I bought it. It's been like discovering Guitar 2.0 for me.
Nice.
Have you got a guitar, amp or pedal that's fundamentally changed things for you?
Well, the Mistress fundamentally changed my life, the Electric Mistress. Yeah, I heard that pedal and I had to reevaluate everything. And it's basically what led me here. So yeah, the Electric Mistress is a very important pedal for me.
Fuzzface.
Nice.
Yeah, Fuzzface changed everything for me. Guitar-wise, Strat, obviously. It tends to be like a longer... I guess what you're talking about is the point of most change.
Yeah.
So lots of these things you sort of acquire and then learn how to use it. But then something comes along one day and just
Yeah.
left turns you a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe the dear old Casino has been a bit of a direction changer for me.
Yeah.
Cheap guitar, awful pickups. Well, pickups that just didn't work for me anyway, not awful per se. Sat on it for ages, changed the pickups. It's like, wow, I want to play this guitar.
Yeah, right. Amazing.
That was a big deal. Yeah. Congratulations on the CE24. Enjoy that. Jeremy Summers, I got an HX Stomp. I'm used it to learn what sounds and or pedals I might like. Then I buy the real pedals.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not able to buy all the pedals just to try. Yeah, I think that's sort of Dan was knocking on that door earlier. Yeah, good sort of taster. It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you've got your Line 6 Spider 5 and you go, wow, that's what a Fender sounds like, Fender amp sounds like, and you buy your Fender amp and you go, wow, this doesn't sound like a Fender amp at all. So there's...
What's that? Because I've had it before. Someone says, oh, I don't need a Vox. I've got it on my pod.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
not really the same thing. But recorded, different matter. One of the other things we look at on Friday is the Boss Waza Air headphones. Stick them on. I'm like, that sounds like a cranked AC30, and
Good,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, okay. Obviously, I think they're amazing. But the thing for me that does it is the isolation with those.
Yeah.
And because you can get in there and sort of tweak it to a thing that works for you. The cleaner sounds for me are exceptional. The gain sounds I struggle with a bit,
Yeah.
but the cleaner sounds in the Was It Air, just magic.
All revealed on Friday. Mike 2203 fan. Hi Mike. He says I got a D&M drive to go with my Marshall 2061X.
This is for you, Mike.
Thank you.
There you go.
You should change your name to Mike 2061 fan. Anyway, he says, I'm really pleased. I want to upgrade to gig rig power for 8 pedals. Which gig rig did Mick use for the £500 board? Okay. I shall spare Dan's blushes and explain to you that gig rig modular power supply is a modular power supply. So whatever happens, you need to start with the generator, which is the kind of thing that creates 5 amps of current out of your wall. So you need that, whatever. You then need something called a distributor, probably, which takes that 5 amps and splits it out into whatever your pedals require. Now, you've got 8 pedals. What you need to do is write a list of what those pedals are. You need to list VIC-P, their voltage, their current, their polarity, and I is isolation, but if you're buying gig rig, that's taken care of pretty much. So what voltage do you need? What current do you need?
Yes.
And what polarity? Most of them are probably center negative, but just check. Most of them are probably 9 volt. And if they're non-digital types, most of them will have a fairly low current draw. But if you've got something like, I don't know, a Strymon pedal, any of the modern, well, many of the modern digital multifunction things, they are likely to require higher than 120 milliamps, in which case you will need a separate high current adapter. Best thing to do, send an email to...
There's actually a thing you can go, if you go online, you can buy like a $10 service, list all the pedals, and we'll do a sort of power path diagram.
There you go.
Send you exactly what you need, exactly how to hook it up,
Yeah.
and pictures and everything.
So you can work it out for yourself, or you can get them to do it for you.
But thank you. That's very kind, mate. Thank you very much.
And enjoy that.
Yeah.
Shamatsatul says it's like big O's.
Ah. Oh, okay, right.
Seamus O'Toole.
Very good.
Seamus O'Toole. Yeah, I always imagine that spitting image gag where Peter O'Toole has his penis stolen in the night. And he wakes up and he says, last night I was Peter O'Toole, now I'm Peter No-Toole. What I love is that there was the punchline and they had to work the gag back from that. They're the best jokes. They're the best jokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Seamus O'Toole says, I've just built a board with mini pedals and I'm just not feeling my gain stages.
Yeah, okay. So, that's so interesting.
What are your tips for ordering tweaks? It's a Tumnus, a Red Dirt and a Foot Fuzz, also an MXR comp and a sub and up.
Oh, man. This is so tricky because it depends on so many things. Not the most thing it depends on is you as a player and what's being plugged into them and how you're using the pedals. So, for example, I love the Red Dirt. I was playing it last week, my Red Dirt, and it's just like for like a high gain TS type thing, just awesome.
Keeley
Red
makes the
Dirt.
Red Dirt, by the way.
But if you're using, if you're using that and then you're using the Tumnus as a boost, you'd set them up one way. If you're using the Red Dirt sort of as a lower gain thing and you're using the Tumnus as an overdrive, you'd set them up as a completely different way. And every shade in between, it's really tricky. So, long story short, try work out your lower gain pedals and your higher gain pedals. The way that you're running them. Start with the higher gain pedals and then put the lower gain pedals after them. and then try the combinations and see if you like how they work together. If not, then start mixing the order and see how you go. Like, you know, for example, the touch overdrive and the bad Bob boost, those two together create the most sensational solo tone. But it's the bad Bob boost into the touch overdrive, which normally it wouldn't be.
Be the other way around.
It'd be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other way around. So it's all depends on the circuit and the pedal and how it reacts to your playing,
Headroom.
all that stuff. All we can do is give you a place to start. Go to the pedals that you're using as low gain, put them last, the high gain ones first. But it's just a place to start. Unfortunately, you just have to get your hands dirty with this. There's no other way around it. It's going to take time and patience, but just sit down, have some jug of coffee, and spend a couple of hours going through it. And I promise you that time you spend with them will pay dividends, because you get to understand how they react together, how they stack.
I'm going to offer something more prosaic, which is set all the gains to less than half of what you've got them set at currently.
Nice.
When you gain stack pedals, what happens is mush.
Yeah.
So set the fuzz flat out, obviously.
Of course.
I mean, there's, you know, that's the right way for that to do that. But the other two, set the gains really low and turn the volumes up. And what you'll find is a bit more interesting harmonic interplay will happen.
Yeah.
As opposed to running the gains high where it sounds all like, yeah. It sounds exactly like that. I've had flashbacks to Jeremy Clarkson. And for those of you who don't know who Jeremy Clarkson is, I'm sure you do, because Top Gear is like a international phenomenon, and he's on Amazon Prime. He's a fairly divisive English man who you either like or you don't like for a varying range of reasons. It's all good, whichever way you fall on the Jeremy Clarkson scale.
The Jeremy Clarkson scale.
He's done a series that we watched on Amazon Prime, I think it is, called Clarkson's Farm.
Right.
It's properly brilliant.
I heard it was really good.
It is really, really, really great. As somebody who probably is not a massive Jeremy Clarkson fan. He's a goofball, he's a buffoon. He plays to the various political sensitivities that we know he plays to.
Right.
And he's very successful at that. Clarkson's Farm puts him in a whole different light.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Even he does all the silly stuff and everything. But it's really, really good telly. And actually, the last episode is almost moving.
That's going to be the name of my E EP.
Yeah, almost moving. I wish that was my dog's flipping bowels as opposed to full flow. Anyway, I don't know why I was having Jeremy Clarkson flashbacks. Probably because I think I sound like him sometimes.
And how?
Just with ridiculous statements of certainty about things. Like, turn the fuzz up to 10. You know, that's the right thing to do. You know, it's like, well, no, it's not the right thing to do. Anyway, moving on. Jeffrey Raddick, he says, no question, just thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you to you. Hearing all the talk of wobble inspired me to add a jam waterfall to my board, says David Harrison. It is a glorious.
It's so good.
vibrato.
It's
It is
so good.
really wonderful. While trying it out at the store, I had a chance to play a 2-Rock TS1 head and cab. Had a schwang in your honour, Mick.
Very nice.
I would very much like to play one of the new ones, actually.
Right. Are they doing an EL84?
They do the little Burnside,
Oh, okay.
which is really nice. Like their take on a Fender Tweed type thing.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Which is really good, as you would imagine.
Yeah, of course.
Greg B says, you can be a sideman for any tour in history. Which band, in what era, and why?
Crowded House in any shape or form
Ever.
ever would be number one. There's so many. I mean, but yeah, that'd be just to play anything to do with those songs with Neil Finn would just be me done. I'd love to be on stage with Frank Zappa and just play one note somewhere that didn't suck. That'd be challenging.
You'd get the glare, wouldn't you?
Ah, you'd be, yeah. But no, just Neil Finn.
Maren Morris's next tour is what I want to do. Either that or Shaka Khan about 83 or 78.
Did you ever see Prince live?
No. I did have the DVD of the Love Sexy tour, and well, actually, it's a VHS,
Right.
and I watched that a lot.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
You too tall for his bandmate?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Could have had your legs cut off.
I'd love to play a song with the Foo Fighters.
That would be cool. wouldn't
That'd be fun.
it? Yeah.
I'd love to, I mean, I love Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Just as a human,
Yeah.
I just think he is truly wonderful. So that'd be awesome.
There's just so many, aren't there?
Yeah.
So many. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the XTC thing, but for me, I've seen Neil so many times live, and it's just, I love the man, what he's done,
Yeah.
and would just,
And music. Isn't it? Music. Imagine all the harmonies you could sing.
Imagine doing a harmony with Neil. Stop
yeah,
it.
It'd be awesome. Be blooming goosebumps, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
KJ Photo, on a similar bent, says, you've got 1 hour with your favourite amp and one guitar from history. What do you choose? Cheers from the Big Apple.
One guitar from history.
And any amp and guitar from ever
Oh.
for an hour.
Interesting. Some of the Beatles guitar sounds fascinate me. I would love to go back and see how they got the AC30s to sound like that. So, but same thing with Queen. Go back to some of those recordings and with Brian May's Red. And just experience those tones. That'd be pretty amazing.
Stevie Ray's Dumble Steel String Singer
Oh.
and the guitar and the famous number one, as long as Rennie Martinez could set it up for me to play, because
Right.
I could not play it the way he had it set up.
Do you remember trying to play Josh Smith's guitar?
Hilarious.
It was just
Hilarious.
when Josh was on, you should be able to see it. Josh was on with his guitars, his
Chapin.
Chapin, and Mick and I were trying to play it, and it's there's just
I
railroad
couldn't get-
tracks for strings,
Couldn't get any treble out of
and
it.
it's go-
Yeah, I
it's
think
like
you
this
did a
this
better
is
job than me, I
broken,
think,
but then Josh picks it up and it's just like, wow.
yeah. Although I think towards the end he did drop string gauge a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Stevie Ray, I think he did.
Yes, he did.
It's said
apparently.
that he did. Whether he
Yeah.
actually did or not, I don't know. Nice question, KJ. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Like Lions says, hey from Albany, New York.
Hey, I love New York.
Dan, what is actually happening when I run my EP boost at 9 or 18 volts?
Okay, so
Shall I give you some rails?
if you could, right. Here is our ground plane, we call 0 volts, and here is 9 volts. And basically, the signal that comes in is going to be an AC signal that does this. It goes up
Like a fish.
between our 0 volts and 9 volts. Now, if I increase the amplitude of the signal, and so generally what's happening is, you've got your, the circuit and the buffers and gauge stages in the circuit. So let's just say that that then reduces that down here a little bit like this. Okay, so we don't actually have 9 volts of headroom in there. We've got, it might drop down to 7 or whatever. So here's our AC signal. When I start to increase that input, we start hitting the rails. And that's what, if you imagine, if I'm going to go up and down past the rails.
That's good, because you were touching me.
Sorry.
My vicious and personal space there.
I understand. And as I go up and down, above and below the rails, if you can imagine my hands are going invisible on up and below. So you get this thing that goes down, cuts off, and then goes back up, and then cuts off. And that's where our distortion, the limiting and clipping is happening. Now, if I go from 9 to 18 volts, it doubles that size. And so I can have a lot more amplitude of the signal before clipping. Now, it's important to remember that there's a lot more to the headroom inside a pedal than just having voltages. As far as audio is concerned, 9 volts is a massive amount of headroom. However, it's what that 9 volts translate to inside the circuit. So the most condensed story is it's just going to give you more headroom before clipping happens. Now, a really important thing to remember is it's not necessarily a good thing. If a lot of people who say this pedal's amazing, it can take, this overdrive pedal's great, it can take 18 volts, and they put 18 volts on it, and suddenly it's not distorting the way that they like, because it's been designed by the designer to run at 9 volts and to clip at 9, to clip with that voltage. It can be really good, but just be like, I run a chorus on 15 volts, but generally all my stuff I run at 9 volts and happy days.
Yep. There we go. More headroom. Potentially.
Yeah. Like a flip side of that is that if you've got regulators inside there, often a regulator will regulate that voltage down to 5 volts.
Whatever happens, yeah.
Whatever happens. Yeah. So if you've got, if the pedal says that it can take 18 volts, it might be that it can take 18 volts because the capacitors inside are rated at a higher voltage, but it doesn't make a bit of difference because no matter what voltage is coming in, it's going to regulate that down to a voltage that the circuit's going to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. But presumably with your EP boost, you can hear the difference and you know whether you like it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Perilous Temple, hi.
Hey,
he
mate.
says, go check Uncle Larry's latest episode. Tiny Black Star via the phone. Killer tone. For trying out sounds, the DAW might help. Then, but the analog pedal. Yes, yeah. So what he's saying that Tom Bukovac's got an amazing sound, Little Black Star amp, iPhone. Yeah.
There's a very important factor in that equation.
that has nothing to do with the amp or the iPhone.
Man, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best.
There is, I've been wanting to make a video on this, but I'm not quite sure how, which boils down to louder and bassier is better. And producers know this, mix engineers know this, that if you want to impress someone, turn it up and add bass.
There's a t-shirt.
All the processing that's going on in your iPhone basically does both of those things.
Oh, wow.
Because it adds a huge amount of compression and presumably companding and expanding as well.
Right.
To make everything as loud as it can possibly be and to just remove all the dynamic.
Interesting.
Plus, the way the EQ is processed in those things is insane. The amount of bass that comes out of my iPhone, I can't believe it some days.
Right.
I just can't believe it, Dan. It's not bass like you get out of a 2x15 cab, but it's it's manufactured bass because of the clever way they compress everything. And it's a really impressive sound.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly impressive sound.
Well, you throw a couple of 100 million at it,
Yeah.
you're going to get somewhere.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Oh. Ryan McConnell, he says, can we expect some TPS dog collars in the future? Just want to say thank you for your kindness and knowledge. I now have a killer board.
Awesome.
I think dog collars is a great idea, actually. Nice.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's get a little one for my little dog.
Little or big? It's all good.
Good.
Yes. We have a specific dog harness for Rosie. That we failed with the lead. It just failed. She would pulled and we just couldn't stop. Anyway, we ended up getting this harness that works really great, and we trained her on that, and it's all good and it's great. But you can only get them in Germany, and because of the new flipping EU shipping laws,
Oh,
I can't get them from Germany. I'm going to have to get Dan Drive to get one and surreptitiously send it to me. Anyway. I'm taking the plunge on a Jazzmaster this week, says Charlie.
Nice.
Would you recommend Mexican or Japanese? I'll be trying the guitar out, but I can only choose 3 to try.
That's interesting.
Presumably going into a store where you can only try 3 guitars.
I haven't heard of that before.
Okay, right. Japanese, metric measurements. Mexican, imperial measurements. So if you want to buy upgraded hardware and stuff like that from American companies, probably best to go American, to go Mexican. However, a lot of those hardware companies will also make metric versions, so it's not necessarily so, but you will have more choice if you stay Mexican. The other thing with a Mexican one, if you can find one, they do a lacquer finish one, and I don't know if they still do it, but they certainly used to do it, and that's what mine is.
Right.
So it's a classic series lacquer. I don't even know if they still do that in the Ventera series or what, but if you want the patina of an older finish as the guitar gets older, Nitro is a really good place to start with that. It's not the same Nitro as it was years ago, but anyway, it's pretty cool. All the Japanese ones, as far as I'm aware, are poly. However, I did hear that they are shooting some Nitro in Japan. So
Really?
check that.
Cool.
Check that. The early Japanese reissues looked crazy cool. They did the Lake Placids, the Candies with the colour-coded headstocks, and they just look insanely cool.
Wow.
And a bunch of other classic colours. So, personally, I would go Mexican because of the dimensions. But it comes down to, well, firstly the 3 rules of buying a guitar: what it looks like, what it looks like, and what it looks like.
Yeah, baby.
And then if you want to add some more rules after that, what does it feel like? And what does it sound like? So it's tough.
What it sounds like right at the end.
Oh yeah, way off the bottom. I'm kind of semi-serious about that, actually.
Right.
Amps and effects. Money.
Can I tell you about a little experience I had?
Guitars.
I was at the office and working on something, and I had my Lazy J J20. And normally I bring my old telly in with me. And I didn't. And the only guitar they had was this. I mean, if it cost 50 quid brand new,
They were ripped off.
they were, yeah. It was like, if I did this, it would saw through my hands. It was, it was an S shaped, I can't even say it.
Steinberger.
Yeah, it's Steinberger shaped object. They had 3 single coils, Strat, type thing. Anyway,
Sadowski.
it's a brand I've never heard of. And anyway, I plugged it in, and with a great amp, it sounded
Fine.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
I'm a big believer in it.
Yeah.
Big believer in it.
And I just remember you talking about that, not because I rarely do it, but hearing the amp, because the amp was turned up and, really good. The J20 is an amazing amp. It's like, wow. And the guy who owned the guitar sitting there going, yeah, man, my guitar's really awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
It was really funny.
okay, so being slightly facetious, of course the guitar matters, and of course it matters what it feels like and what it sounds like. Of course it does. But you need to use some criteria by which to choose the 3 you're going to try. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can try a Mex and a Japanese one, then do that.
Yeah.
The trouble is, with any guitar with any guitar anywhere, sequential serial numbers
It's going to be completely
could
different.
be radically different, either because they are different or because they're set up differently. So
Yeah.
the good news is that most modern, factory-made guitars are pretty damn good nowadays.
Yeah.
Seriously good, in fact. And for a relatively low cost, you can get it then to a point where you really love it with the setup and.
What
and all
about
of that.
Jazzmaster pickups? The difference between the Japanese versions and the Mexican versions, are they the same or similar?
Literally no idea.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, that's not something I know anything about. Yeah, probably need to consult a Jazzmaster expert for that. But I would assume there's not a huge amount
Right.
in it. In the same way that if it was a Strat or a Tele, I wouldn't have any big issue with either of the pickups.
Sure.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck,
Charlie.
mate.
Saima Tawil says, hello from Canada. This is a good question. He says, the Hudson Broadcast, it's germanium based, so does chain placement matter for this pedal? I'm using a Les Paul and a Strat into an AC30. Okay, so this is...
Is it?
Yeah, it's... yeah, it is.
What, germanium transistors?
Or, yeah, it must be to get the fuzz. It's not just germanium clipping diodes, I don't think. So first thing, there's a big difference between germanium transistors and germanium clipping diodes. Germanium transistors is all the great fuzzes we know about, blah, 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 blah. Germanium clipping diodes is something like a Tube Screamer or a Klon, or completely different.
The Broadcast is a transformer coupled, discrete Class A germanium preamp.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So are we saying that the transformer is going to mitigate some of those placement issues?
So it can do. It depends on,
Short answer, it's nowhere near as fussy as
Yeah.
a fuzz face. And that's less to do with the fact that it's germanium and more to do with the input and output impedances. So you don't have to worry about it in the way that you would have to think about a vintage fuzz face. It's a different thing.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Yeah, Hudson Broadcast features a specially selected triad steel core transformer and germanium transistor. That's fascinating. Well, yeah, okay. I wonder if there's a schematic of it somewhere. Anyway, yeah. Well, that goes. I mean, it goes a long way to explaining why it sounds the way it does, but without, taking it apart and seeing how they've done it.
Would you agree that it won't be as problematic as a fuzz face in terms
Totally.
of signal placement?
Yeah, totally. Because
Yeah.
it's based on the Neve preamp, and it's got a high input impedance. Which is completely different than
Yeah.
the normal fuzz face.
So, acquire and stack with a plum.
Indeed.
Nice.
Yeah, indeed.
How
How great was it to be reminded how good that thing sounded, though?
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it sounds good, but I was kicked on that fuzz. It was like, yes!
Yeah. No, wonderful.
Helmutar Sepanta. Helmutar Sepanta. Helmet Arse Panta. Helmet Arse Parter. Helmet Arse Parter. There was me thinking you were a nice German, and you're just a smutty person. He says,
At least you didn't say it 6 times.
anyway, even better, Dan, he's got a joke. What's the difference between jam and marmalade?
No idea.
You can't marmalade another pedal onto your board.
Very good. Very good.
Thanks for all the lockdown mental support. Sounds like you need it, Helmut. Good on you, man. Elusive Moose. Elusive Moose says, greetings. The weekend rig was mega. An ode all to years of watching you two. Thanks for the inspiration.
Oh.
Strat, Fuzzface, ODR Mini, Clone, Flanger, Tape Delay, Reverb, Stereo Split, FDRR.
Full range something.
Fender Deluxe Reverb,
Verb reissue.
and Bad Cat.
Oh, stop it. That is killer.
You must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, mate.
You
Well
must have
done.
enjoyed it. Oh my God, mate, we've still got loads to go. Andrew Easton Bentley, I was using 1.5 prime tones, but just switched them to the thinner ones, and I like those even more. Picks have headroom too.
I tried. I bought them all, and the thin ones are really great. But I was using those for a while, and it was then when I was recording that I went back to the thicker ones. But the thin ones are really good.
Dan says, Ryan Lopez, can you give us your best BB on that ES?
Oh no.
Got it.
No. Okay.
Come on,
All right.
BB.
BB.
Try C is a good key for BB.
C. All right.
Slower.
That's all I'm doing.
Nice.
No, it wasn't. It's terrible.
Tony Brooks. Hello, Tony. He says, happy to bring my thin line for the show. I just bought 3 pedals, so it'll be a while before I can get a new TPST. I'm so rig happy right now.
That's wonderful,
Tar
mate.
leg ends. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
I might take you up on that, actually. JT3483. What's the difference between magnetone pitch shifting vibrato and other vibrato? What about magnetone vibrato with signal dry and univibe? Also, doggo. The dog is Rosie. So, magnetone pitch shifting vibrato and other vibrato, there's no difference. Vibrato is vibrato. It's pitch shifting. What you might mean is tremolo.
Yeah, the magnetone harmonic tremolo.
Well, okay, right. Tremolo, louder, quieter. That's what tremolo is.
Mm-hmm.
Magnetone vibrato is pitch shifting vibrato.
Right. Okay.
Pitch shifting. Harmonic tremolo is something different.
Yes. Harmonic tremolo is when you have your tremolo signal, but the bass frequencies and the treble frequencies are split, and they are alternating. The bass frequencies are out of phase with the treble frequencies, and they are going like that. It gives you almost a phasey sound, but it's not phasey. Very nice. Remember when Kurt Fletcher was here? He was talking about BB's vibrato, and he could do the BB vibrato at different periods of his career.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurt
Yeah.
Fletcher.
Amazing.
There you go. So they are different. Magnetone vibrato and harmonic tremolo are different.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Patrick Pierce, thanks for the recommendation on Eastman a few weeks ago. I got a T386 burst.
Oh, nice.
Great 40th birthday gift to myself. I can't put it down. Keep
happy
rocking,
birthday.
dudes. Eastman.
It's so wonderful when you get a new guitar that you can't put down. It's the best thing.
6. Oh, nice.
Very nice.
So like a 335 style. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember the conversation. Lovely, lovely thing.
Very good. Well
How
done.
cool. Congrats. Yeah. You'll be doing all your BB, your best BB bends on that. Connor McCabe, hey gents, when auditioning boosts and drives, how can you tell what grit is from the pedal and what's from the amp?
So this is
Does
really
it matter?
right.
Thanks for enriching my musical and personal life, says Connor McCabe. That's a really, really great question.
Really great question. Now, where the confusion lies is if you've got a boost pedal and the boost is really clean, and the amp's really clean. When you boost the input of a valve amp, at some point that is going to limit, or any amplifier for that matter, at some point that input is going to limit. However, it might be that the input to the amp isn't limiting, and you've reached the edge. Remember talking about before about the headroom in the pedal, is that you've got the gain turned up and you're actually clipping inside the pedal. Okay, here's how you work it out. You give the amplifier as much headroom as you can. Completely clean. Master volume all the way up, preamp gain just barely on. And then you start in stages turning the boost pedal up and just seeing at what point the boost pedal starts to clip itself, and it will
Nice.
eventually clip. And then do the opposite. Turn the gain back up on your amplifier to a point where it's working, and then start to do the same thing, and then you'll hear how that boost integrates with the clipping of the amplifier. Doesn't matter. It only matters if you're setting your amplifier up with like different. For example, if it's a non-master volume amplifier, and it's 1 gig, you've just got your volume like quiet. The next gig, you've got to turn right up. Then boosting into that will have different results.
Yeah.
So it's all about headroom. But just try that. Try the amplifiers clean. Like try it really quiet, and as clean as you can, and then see how much.
There aren't many amps that a decent boost pedal won't put into overdrive.
Sure.
So even something with a ton of headroom, that boost pedal will still make it overdrive.
Because most boost pedals are kicking out like enormous amounts.
Yeah.
Enormous
Yeah.
amounts. So at some point, the first stage of the amplifier is going to say, "That's me done."
And the interesting harmonic thing is that interplay between the two.
Totally.
That's what we're all looking for. And that right there is all guitar tone.
Yep.
Isn't it?
Totally.
That relationship between where is the overdrive, where is the clean, that's everything you need to know about gain stacking,
Yep.
which is pretty much everything you need to know about guitar tone.
Totally. So just have a play.
Yeah, good luck. William Whitty. Hello, William.
Hello, William.
He says, dropping in to say, I would love to see Mike Pusheen.
Mike Pusheen.
Puisheen? P-U-I Sheen.
Yes.
Pusheen Adams on the show to talk about some offsets. We need more offsets.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know who Mike Adams is. Yes, would be good.
Cool.
I'd like more guests in general.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had guests.
18 months of
Yeah.
being sat here through lockdown.
Simon Neil was our last guest, I
We
believe.
could do with some more humans.
Definitely.
Would be good, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
If anyone knows Mike, put us in touch. I got a Supro Keeley Custom 12 to add to my setup of a Victory V40 and a Fender Twin Tone Master. Dry and wet. Should I use the Supro or the V40 for dry?
Depends on how you're running the amplifier.
Yeah, it says Bagger Tweed.
The amplifier that you're running with less headroom is a good one to run for your dry amplifier as a starting point.
Yep. Yep. Either of those is going to be pretty good, though. I mean, I don't know what the headroom's like in the Custom 12. I think that's a lower watt amp, isn't it? The Keeley Custom 12.
I'm assuming so.
Isn't it like a 12 watt thing or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would start with the V40 for dry, personally.
Right.
And crank the master.
Nice. For wet, you mean? The V40 for...
That's what I meant.
Yeah, V40 for wet.
V40 wet and crank the master.
Yeah.
But then again, you want the amp sort of overdriving to a similar amount anyway. Try it both ways.
Try it both ways.
Try it both ways.
Indeed.
And with that
Oh, yeah.
harmonic musical interlude, I think that's us.
Oh, wicked. Okay. Oh, well done. Lovely. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It's always a blast on Monday. We love to see you all. Yeah. Very nice. Have a fantastic week. We're looking at 5 tools that will help you with your practice on Friday.
And harmonies that make you angry.
I love those. Have a fantastic week.
Have a
And
good week,
yeah,
y'all.
see you on Friday and then see you on Monday. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.